Good morning. What a glorious day to be in this beautiful city of Fitchburg, rated the 10th best city in the United States to live in. Now we know why we live here, right? This morning we're gathered. I'm going to call the Board of Review for the year of 2023 to order for the city of Fitchburg. Madam Clerk, would you please do a roll call to make sure we have a quorum of members to conduct our meeting this morning?
Thank you, Chair. Mike Coulard.
Here.
Elton Krim Jr.
Here.
Sean Paff.
Here.
Carol Poole.
Here.
Sharif Atun.
Here.
Rich Tate.
Here.
Andrew Slager.
Here.
Nicole Vafarati.
Here.
You do have a quorum, Chair. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this great day. We get the business of our board started. First thing we have are minutes from two prior meetings. One was a very short meeting that allowed us to reconvene today.
Chair, will you take a motion?
One moment.
Yep, sure.
I just want to make sure we have the dates in the record. We have meeting minutes from October 12th of 2022, which was our last meeting of the prior year, and those of June 5th of 2023. So at this point, has everybody's had a chance to review those minutes?
Mr. Chair, would you take a motion to approve both of them at the same time, or you want to do them separately?
Well, I want to do them separately because I do have one correction that I found that I'd like to make.
Sure. I make a motion to approve item 3A, draft minutes from October 12th, 2022, Board of Review.
Okay, I'll accept that motion with an amendment that
A second, sir.
on line, let's see, it's on the page 4. I guess it's in the narrative after I, describing the action. There is a auto check change that occurred in the last line just before item 6. It says, let the recoin note. That is supposed to be identified as let the record note.
May I ask a procedural question?
Sure.
If we were not on the board at that time, do we abstain from voting to confirm the meeting minutes?
I don't think you.
It's an action of today, and if you had a chance to read the minutes, you can vote on it.
Thank you.
So we have a motion with a friendly amendment. I now call for a second.
I second.
We have a second. All those in favor of signifying and approving the minutes of October 12th, please signify by saying aye.
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 Let the record note, the motion carried unanimously. Now we have also then the minutes of the June 5th, 2023 meeting.
I'd like to offer a minor amendment, just the spelling of my last name,
And that amendment is what?
to change the spelling to Vafadari.
We have a minor amendment.
I'll second it with a brief discussion.
Yes.
Nicole, for the record, as someone who has a name that I like to pronounce Paff, could you pronounce your name for the public?
Absolutely. Vafadari.
Vaffadari. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm shaking my head. The record can't see a shaking head, hopefully. I live with a name that many people do not have any clue how to pronounce, so we welcome you to the board,
Thanks.
and please forgive us
No,
if
absolutely
we
not.
don't
No
pronounce your
worries.
name correctly.
No worries.
I know we can do Nicole.
There you go. I go by Nicole frequently.
Perfect, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Again, let the record note, we have a unanimous vote for approval of the minutes of June 5th of 2023. I'd like to take a second to welcome the newest members of our board this year, or those who have agreed to renew their terms with us. Sharif, would you like to introduce yourself briefly to the board?
Absolutely. Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Sharif Autumn. This would be my first year serving as a board member, and it's my utmost pleasure to be here as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Nicole?
Good morning. My name is Nicole Vaffadari. I'm a proud resident of Fitchburg. I'm also an elected member of the Verona Area School Board, and it's also my pleasure serving on the council.
Carol?
My name is Carol Poole. My name is Carol Poole. I've lived in Fitchburg since 1982, and I'm very happy to be here and serving on this body. Thank you.
And Sean, you are graciously again with us on the Board of Review.
I'm Sean Paff. I am a Fitchburg resident since 2004 and enjoyed working in this community. I've learned a lot. I'm glad to be here again.
Not to be ignored, we also have our other valued members with us who have been sitting through Board of Reviews with me for several years now. So we again welcome all of you and appreciate your help as we go through the minutes and the meetings and the discussions and all the legal jargons we have to deal with as we look at trying to keep the city's tax base in order. So, confirmation of appropriate Board of Review open meetings. Madam Clerk, has this meeting of the Board of Review been properly noticed as required under Wisconsin law?
Thank you, Chair. It has. It was noticed in the May 22nd Wisconsin State Journal, and it was noticed again in the June 3rd Wisconsin State Journal, and it was posted on the main door of the entryway to City Hall.
Thank you for your diligent work in making sure that we are legal underneath the Wisconsin statutes, and for all you do in keeping us on the straight and narrow. We appreciate that very much. Next item on our agenda, item 5, is to select a Board of Review vice chairperson. And the reason we need to select a vice chairperson is that one of the objections does request that I be excluded as provided in law. So if I'm not here, we need to have someone who can conduct the meeting. So at this point, I would ask if there's anyone who would like to volunteer to be the chairperson. I'm sorry, vice chairperson.
I feel like this is a church council meeting and no one else wants to do it. I'm just teasing. I will be the I would be honored to serve as vice chair of this committee if my fellow committee members are so willing to give me the opportunity.
We have a willing volunteer. Is anyone else interested?
I would like to second Sean's volunteering.
Okay, we have,
I think that's a great choice.
I would like the third Sean.
Yeah, it's church council here. Who wants to do it?
I hear no objections to Mr. Paff being vice chair for the duration of this Board of Review.
Exactly.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Thank you.
Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for volunteering.
There's an old saying in history, what a vice president is worth is a jar of something. I can't say it publicly. But
We're not going there. We aren't opening that jar. Next item on our agenda, Board of Review member training. Madam Clerk, have we met the requirements under Wisconsin statutes for the member training requirement for Board of Review members?
Thank you, Chair. We have Sean Paff, Carol Poole, Elton Krim Jr., Rich Tate, Sharif Atum, Andrew Slager, and Nicole Baffarati all completed the training requirements for this year.
We should be having a very great Board of Review with all those knowledgeable people sitting here with me. Thank you for doing that. Moving then to the next item on our agenda, filing and summary of annual assessment report by the Assessor's Office. So I'm looking to the assessor who is sitting here, and I'm going to ask him, has that report been submitted?
It hasn't been submitted yet. The Department of Revenue doesn't require that it gets submitted. I have generated that report, and it's up on the desk or whatever you want to call it there. But once we're done with Board of Review, I'll submit a copy to the mayor, and yeah, submit it.
So you're telling us that the report is basically complete based on the assessment roll as it sits in front of us, but has not been yet submitted to the Department of Revenue for final review and acceptance.
Correct.
Let the record note that that is the status of that report, and that when the Board of Review is adjourned, it will be filed timely with the department, or as soon as possible.
Yes, correct, yep.
Timely would mean it's been filed already, right?
Right.
Receipt of the assessment roll by the clerk from the assessor. I see 3 substantial documents, I guess there's 4, sitting in front of me. I'm assuming that's the 23 assessment roll for the city.
Yeah, I guess to your right, the 2 large books on the lower portion there, that's the real estate assessment roll. The smaller booklet on top is the personal property assessment roll, and then the kind of freestanding book there is the annual assessment report.
And these documents have been prepared by using the Dane County services that are
Yes.
provided?
Yep, we're balanced with the county, all things checked off on that end.
Okay. At this point, I'll make these available to any member of the board who would like to look at them. It is part of our responsibility to check the roll for our errors and omissions. As you can see, there's about 3 reams of paper sitting here, and they are available as public documents. So anybody who wants to look at them, you're more than welcome to. At this point, I'm going to accept the fact that the assessor's staff and the assessor have reviewed them and are presenting to us the most complete documents that they can at this point in time. Please let the record note then that we have accepted those documents. There's one additional thing that I want to make sure is included with those documents, and that is the sworn affidavit of the assessor that this is your final, or this is your assessment roll. Based on the Wisconsin statutes, as a certified assessor, are you presenting to us a certified assessment roll under your signature?
I am. The affidavit was signed this morning, shortly before we commenced the meeting.
Okay, just so everybody knows, that once that affidavit is signed, that means the assessor can no longer, through his office function, make changes to the roll. It is now up to the Board of Review to make any changes to that assessment roll.
And for the record, I do have the signed assessor's affidavit in my possession.
Okay. I'm not seeing anybody jump up to get copies of the assessment roll.
I'm just curious, Mr. Chair, of a question. Maybe the assessor would know this. I certainly can look at it. Any idea what the size of the personal property tax that we've assessed in the city? I can easily pull this up. It's just I want to have a brief discussion in public because of some recent events in the state capitol.
Yeah, I don't have that answer for you right now, but I can get it in a minute or two.
No problem. The only reason I say that, just as an FYI, and we promise I'll be quick, is as of January 21 of 2024, the state will no longer, if things go as is, the governor just signed a proposal to get rid of the personal property tax.
Sure.
So that'll be interesting to see what this number is, if you could pull that.
Yeah, hang on one second.
Sean, just to clarify, are you then stating that if that passes, whatever that number is, in 2024, that revenue will not be recognized?
Thank you.
I'm going to have the assessor explain that, but yes.
I can explain it.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Part of our assessments in the city of Fitchburg is personal property assessments, and that's what's included in this document that's been presented to us. Personal property and assessments in Wisconsin are based on the fact that the law required all property to be assessed. In the past, the Wisconsin legislature has exempted certain specific categories of property. Those properties then are no longer included in this assessment roll. It's part of the assessor's responsibility to have a personal property report submitted to them, so they're not just guessing. And then from that report, they then develop and prepare the personal property assessment roll, which is then attached to it. In the past, when it was one document, they would be attached.
Mr. Chair, what are some examples of personal property? Just
Personal property would be things like office furniture and fixtures in an attorney's office. It could be things that were rental units that have stoves, refrigerators, microwaves. These are appliances that are depreciating assets that depreciate in a different way than the real estate. So these are all assets and items that you can move, and personal property is movable. So it might be here this year, and it might be someplace else next year. So that's part of the assessor's responsibility to discover that property and make sure that it's assessed in the proper location. And there's been court cases and challenges on how that's handled, but typically it's pretty straightforward. Why is this happening? Well, I'll give you an example. Back in around 2000, our legislature decided to exempt computers. So now the assessor has to get a report on computers, but that report is then submitted to the Department of Revenue, and state aid is given to the city in lieu of the taxes that were paid on computers. So we're now looking to the future, and the future is potentially that the personal property tax will disappear, which then shifts that tax burden to all other properties that are still taxable in the city.
Thank you for explaining that.
I think, Mr. Chair, you should go up to the state legislature and explain that the way you did, because that
I
was
think so, too.
fantastic. It's been 175 years that that tax has been in place, and I think no one has explained as well as our chair of our committee. So thank you, sir.
I appreciate your kind words, but it's just a matter of fact that it's a law of the land, and we have to live with it and try to understand it. And sometimes our laws can be challenging to understand and interpret. I guess that's why we have attorneys, right? And boards of review to,
Can I just pop in here quick? The total personal property value that we've got is $42,523,100.
That's annually, right?
Say again?
Annually, right?
Yes, yes.
that would change annually.
Yeah, and it varies year to year, and this year we're not doing a revaluation, so it gets ratioed out, if that makes sense. So the total value is closer to 53 million, but since we have to apply the annual assessment or the estimated assessment ratio to it, it goes down to that 42 figure.
Thank you for that information.
You bet.
Have you corrected any description or calculation errors in the roll that you're aware of?
Yeah, there were none that we were aware of, so none needed correction.
Okay. Have you added any omitted property to the roll?
There, to our knowledge, was no omitted property.
Okay. Any double assessments that had to be corrected or changed from last year's roll?
To our knowledge, there were none.
Okay. Thank you for your due diligence in presenting us with a complete and accurate roll as possible. We appreciate your efforts in that respect, so we don't have to sit here for hours trying to read through legal descriptions and try to find any potential concerns that may be existing in those rolls. And I know the county does help immensely in helping you prepare those rolls and keeping the legal descriptions straight, but it's still ultimately your responsibility to make sure that's happening.
Right.
Okay, and moving then to item agenda 11, discussion action. Certify all corrections of error under state law under 70, section 43 of Wisconsin statutes. We've been told by the assessor, well, I'm going to ask the assessor, were there any certifications or corrections of error that you had to make to the roll?
No.
For the record, please, would you state your name for the record? I don't think we have that yet.
Sure.
You are a new city assessor, and we certainly want to recognize that. But we would like to make sure that when the record is reviewed, they know who's saying that no on the
Sure. Yeah, my name's Chris Leitz, city assessor here in the city of Fitchburg. There are no errors to correct on the roll that I'm aware of.
Thank you for that clarification. And the same with open book changes?
Yeah, the changes that were made during open book were, they're reflected in the roll.
Okay, then moving to item 13 on the agenda, consideration for request for waiver of the 48-hour notice of intent to file an objection with good cause. Madam Clerk, is there anybody who has requested that option?
There is no one that has requested that option.
Is there anyone in the audience who's here specifically because they want to appeal but did not file an objection within, or make notice of an objection within that 48-hour period?
There is nobody in the audience.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, for our update on that. With that, we are moving then into items 15 on the agenda, which is not just one number, but is an alphabet of soup.
Did you do 14?
Did we do 14?
Telephone.
Oh, I'm sorry, I checked it off. I'm one ahead of myself. Thank you for pointing that out. I missed agenda item 14, considerations for request to testify by telephone or sworn written statement. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests?
Thank you, Chair, we do not.
See, I was just ahead of the game, Sean. That's all right. But thank you for correcting it. Sometimes my old eyes get tricky, and I actually checked it off before we even talked about it. Okay, moving on, item 15 on our today's agenda. A little bit of background before we begin. I've had several conversations recently with our city attorney about some of the issues that came up last year. She's given me some very good advice as to how we should proceed on reviewing objection forms. And I think that the process and procedure we used last year, and I realize several of you weren't here to hear and see those procedures, but as we go through them and we talk about whether these objection forms are complete, the attorney and I have been in discussion, and she is available today via phone only because she's suffering the ill fate of having COVID. So we will certainly work with her if we need to via telephone so that we can have her expertise if needed to make sure that as we're looking at and reviewing objection forms today, that we're any corrections or changes we need to make are done based on the guidance of our legal staff. So, I now have in front of me, and I'm sure you do too, this beautiful packet. Eldon's laughing. I'm not laughing.
Eldon's a wily veteran.
So what we have in front of us, item 15A, objection form. Franklin Square condominiums. I see objections A and B, or items 15 and B on our agenda, both being Franklin Square condominiums. At this point, we need to review the objection form for completeness and correctness.
Mr. Chair, just as a little tutorial here for the new folks and a reminder for some of us folks, what are we doing at this juncture, what we're looking for, and what kind of things? If you could provide some guidance, would be much appreciated.
Oh, he really wants me to be awake this morning so early, doesn't he? Oh. My goodness. The city of Fitchburg has, with the guidance of our city attorney and the state statutes and the assessment manual, looked at the objection form as the first step in the appeal process. First of all, it needs to be completed. We are reusing the prescribed form from the Department of Revenue, and as we look at this form, and as court cases have indicated, it needs to be a complete and accurate indication of value of the property. So as I look at objection form A, 15A, I can see that the property owner has objected to the value. He's given us basic information on the property, stating and declaring their opinion of value as $1,509,300 as compared to the $2,037,300 that the assessor has offered.
I believe item A is parcel 2273, which is the one below on the other one.
Oh,
So the
okay.
assessment shown is 7383.
Okay, same relationship, same line items on the form.
But different form, yes. So this
Different
one-
form. That I
5 million.
I guess I shifted mine, sorry. So in this case, the declared value is $5,469,600. And we're looking at the assessor's value of $7,383,100. And remembering that the assessor is considered correct until proven wrong, it's now the taxpayer's burden to complete the form, telling us of any changes that have occurred in the property, both physically and if there's been recent sales, so you can see the specific questions that are asked. And if the form is not fully completed, we then have the ability to deny the appeal before the board or to give them the opportunity, if we so desire, to correct what's ever omitted from the objection form. So we want to make sure as we proceed that we have a completed objection form and that the person who's here presenting that objection form is also authorized to do that. In this particular case, since it's Franklin Square condominiums, I look at the packet that the assessor and the clerk have put together for us. Excuse me, the clerk has put together, and I see that there is a indication that there's an individual who will be presenting evidence on the behalf, or should be anyhow. I see a waiver request. And I don't see an authorization as agent for. Okay, that is with the second appeal
Correct. It was one agent form for both.
for both
parcels.
properties.
Correct.
So we want to make sure that the proper authorization has been presented so that the people here presenting evidence to us or giving us, making requests of us are properly authorized to do that. So that's the agent request form, which is again for Franklin Square Apartments on the second item on our agenda, which would be 15B, so that we can make sure that as they present their information and requests, that they are have the proper authority to do that for the client.
So,
May I
Mr.
ask? Oh,
Go ahead, Nicole.
sorry, Sean. I just have two procedural questions. The first one, in this example, where there is one packet with an agent authorization form and another packet without, is it an appropriate manner of clarification to ask the city clerk, you know, Tracy, was this submitted on behalf of both pieces of parcel? And is it acceptable to say, okay, it's not stapled to the other packet, but we know it's the same agent for the same organization?
I believe the law requires that they file to the clerk, and having one objection form and one agent form for each is not truly required.
Great.
The clerk actually puts together a very nice packet
Yeah.
when they get that either written or oral notice that they want to appeal. And in that packet, they then give them guidance as to how to submit the documentation. And so it's perfectly correct and acceptable that there's one agent authorization form if it's exactly the same property. In this case, it's the property owner that has authorized this person to represent them.
Thank you. My second question, just again, purely procedural, and being the clerk myself, I know there is some discrepancy when there are crossouts or manual writing over. Is it fair for this board to assume that if stamped with this received by the city clerk, that all processes were followed and that we don't have to worry about things that were crossed out and written over in different penmanship outside of the form? Is that a fair statement? It seems reasonable, but I just want to make sure.
I would expect it to be acceptable, but I can't speak for the city
On
clerk.
voter rolls, it's very different, and so I just wanted to confirm that this is okay.
So the date stamp is showing that that document was received prior to the 48-hour or within the 48-hour timeline.
Okay, so on this form for the, maybe I can just ask you directly then, Tracy, for the agent authorization, were you witness to this kind of cross out and redoing of section 1 on the form?
I was not. Nope, those forms are just date stamped to the day that we received them.
Gotcha.
It's the board's decision to decide whether or not to accept them or not.
Thank you very much.
So just so the record's clear, we're looking at the question developed because of the agent authorization form showing that the address going to Fort Worth, Texas, was not that of the agent, but of the owner. And they wanted to make sure that the proper documentation was sent to the correct address. So in a situation like this, I would think that having a corrected address is certainly appropriate versus having them file the second form or corrected form.
I would also note, with your permission, the fact that the address that was hand changed does match the address for the other forms that they have submitted, so it is consistent with their other addresses.
I'm sure it's happened in the past where an address was submitted that didn't represent that of the agent, and so correspondence has to go to the owner or the authorized agent, and that may have caused problems that mailings from the board or the clerk went to the wrong people. Things didn't happen because of that, so it's a good catch, and we certainly want to make sure that as we review them, we're thorough. So thank you very much for giving us that reminder that we have to be thorough as we analyze and make sure that all the proper documents are in and that are completed.
Mr. Chair, real quick before we really get in the meat of this. So these A through double A, or A through Z that we have in front of us, these are the properties that we are looking at this season of the Board of Review, correct? There's not, so this is predominantly multifamily. If someone were to have a residential home or something, single family, that would be on this list if they were going to be. So we did not get,
Correct, there are no residential objections.
okay.
Yeah.
This is the list.
They do have until 10:30
Right.
to come in and request a waive of the 48 hours.
Right, but
as
this
of
is
right
the
now.
list that mostly we're working. Okay.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought.
There are some additions that came in after the agenda and packet were posted, because by law, we have to have the agenda and packet posted within a 24-hour timeline of the meeting.
Right.
So I do have those added to your packet, and and I'll point them out to you as we go through.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
All right.
Are we set? Well, let's start looking at first one. Item A, 15A on our agenda, Franklin Square Condominiums LLC, 2001 Greenway Cross, parcel number 609-031-2273-0. Authorized agent form has been filed with the second form, which we have discussed and will be considering as acceptable. As we look at this document, please look at it carefully to see if there's anything that we know we need to discuss with either the assessor or the property owner's representative. Madam Clerk, is the property owner's representative here this morning?
Thank you, Chair. They are not. Yes, they are here. I was looking for Mr. Millis. I'm sorry.
Do you want to come up, sir? This is not a hearing. This is just in case we have questions on the form.
And this is Sean Lovell from Reinhardt, Bonner, Van Duren. Would you like me to swear in the city assessor and?
Sure, that's where everybody's who's here.
Okay.
Might as well be safe.
Okay. Chris, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Lovell, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thanks.
Thank you for that. And just a reminder, we are looking at objection forms. We're not taking testimony today, to make sure that if we have a completed objection form, that we can add it to our docket for hearing. There's a significant difference in the opinion of value. I would like to ask of the assessor, on the middle of this form, it says, based on your opinion of assessed value, it's information provided to the assessor. Can you tell us what information was provided to you so that we can determine if it's appropriate?
Yeah, hang on one second. I just want to check something. Yeah, so we did not meet with the property owner during open book. The information that was provided was what is attached, I assume, to the packet here that we haven't had a chance to review yet. And it appears to just be, at least on this one, some permit costs or some repairs and permit costs. So that's what you're seeing in front of you is what I've received.
So this is an income-producing property. Can you tell us how the value was established? Was it using the income approach?
Wait, hang on. Yeah, sorry. We did, so there's a number of properties. We put out a request for income and expense to, I think late last month or early last month in May, and we received it back. I can check. Let's see here. Looks like we received it, on the same date as the form was marked, the 9th, and we have not had an opportunity to review it yet.
So you did get income and expense
We did,
information?
yep, we just haven't been able to review it yet.
That's
Okay.
correct. And I do have income and expense for 2273 and 2087. It's not included in your packet as it is confidential information.
Okay, so that has been received. Thank you for doing that timely. Any other questions by the board members of the information on the form? Hearing none, I will accept the form as submitted. Similar review of the objection form for the second parcel, which is parcel 609-031-2086-7. Assessed value at $2,037,300. Opinion of value of the taxpayer and representative, $1,509,300. Same information on this appeal or objection as was in the original. So again, I would ask the assessor, has the information you've requested been provided?
Yes, it has.
Okay. Now, the board may be wondering why I'm asking that specific question. I'm asking that question because under section 47AF of the statutes, Wisconsin, no person may appeal before the Board of Review, testify to the Board of Review by telephone or object to valuation if the valuation was made by the assessor or the objector using the income method unless no later than 7 days before the first meeting of the board, the person supplies the assessor all of the information about the income and expenses as specified in the assessment manual under 73032A that the assessor requests. So that is what we're looking for, is to make sure that the assessor has that information and can use it to confirm that the value that he's prepared is what he feels is accurate and correct. So just so you're aware, that's a little tidbit I picked up in reviewing the Board of Review materials this year. Because even after going through them for many, many years, that's a change in the law that I hadn't really followed as closely as we possibly should have in the past. I'll just ask the taxpayer's representative, do you have other appeals in our packet that we need to discuss?
Yes, sir, we do.
And the next one on my agenda is Fred Elon. Is that one of them?
It is.
Okay. So item C on our agenda, 15C, Fred Elon LLC, 6311 Curry Vista Drive, parcel number 609-182-2505-2. Objection. Pardon me? I'm hearing things. Echo in the microphone, sorry. Taxpayer's opinion of value, $29,542,300. Assessor's opinion of value, $29,442,300. Taxpayer's opinion, $22,692,700. So again, a significant difference in opinion. And I'll ask the same assessors of the assessor. Did you receive the materials necessary? Well, first, was this valued using the income approach to value?
It was.
And did you receive the materials that you requested within that 7-day window as required?
We did. We received them on June 9th.
Okay. Also indicated on this form is a purchase price of $1,596,000 from 2015. Is that for land only?
I believe so, but let me check quick. Yeah, just the land.
Okay. So the $28 million difference is based on improvements now there.
Right.
And changes in land value since that point.
Correct.
Okay. Now, there is indications of new construction changes, significant construction, I'm assuming, back in 2014 and 2015, and indicates that there's been no recent appraisal. I'll ask the taxpayer's representative, is that correct?
That's my understanding, sir.
Okay. Any questions on the objection form by the members of the board?
Just a self-education question for you, Mr. Leeds. Is that, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yep.
Okay. So our chairperson stated that there's new construction, but there's been no appraisal done. Is that a fair statement?
You can maybe speak to what, so on the form, it says, date of changes 2014 and 2015, and the cost of changes. I believe that was the year billed, so, yeah.
Gotcha. So there has been appraisal done on the property since built?
I can't speak to that, but
Yeah, this would be a private appraisal, not the assessment.
Thank you very
Review.
much. Thank you.
We ask that because if there has been a private appraisal, we certainly would like to know that, and the assessor should know that as well. And the board, if there is an appraisal and they want to use that appraisal as part of their basis of opinion, that appraiser or whoever developed it needs to be here so we can ask questions of that party. Or, as the law now provides, can do it in other methods. Based on our discussion and review, it appears as if this objection form meets the criteria of being fully completed and is acceptable. And as I state that, if anybody has any concerns or questions, please feel free to speak up. Hatchery Hill 3 LLC, 5550 Cadiz Bend. And there's a second parcel at Hatchery Hill as well, at 2981 Cahill, Maine. Parcel number is 609-033-4191-3. Parcel number 609-033-4226-1. And it appears as if we have the same legal counsel representing them.
Sir,
Somehow, we got them all in order for you. I don't
perfect.
thank Tracy, because I didn't do it.
Thank you.
He'll be here through letter O. If that helps.
Can someone point out I've already forgotten the name of the form, the registered agent form? The agent authorization, thank you. I don't see it in this packet.
I have one in the second,
Thank you.
with the second parcel.
Okay, and then Tracy, is it fair? This helpful little form you've added here shows us it applies to
That
both
was
these.
submitted by the objector, so
Oh.
yes.
Thank you for that helpful form. Okay.
Mr. Chair, on this packet, I go to page I think the third page, fourth page. It says, about 60% of the way down, move directly to circuit court. Can you explain that, or what are we seeing here, and how does this impact that part of our process here?
They're asking us,
Can I speak to that?
Yep, please. Right here, Mike. Page 4 of Hatchery Hill
Yep.
3.
So the objection forms and the agent authorization forms were filed on June 9th. And then on June 21st, we received a request for waiver. So we'll go through these forms again when we get to the waiver request portion of it.
Yep.
okay.
Okay, thank you. That's right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tracy.
And again, we have it on, it is on both of them.
Yep. Just wanted to double check.
They have to get by the first review before they do anything else. Step 1, then step 2. Thank you, Tracy, for reminding us of that. We need to take steps. Okay, getting back to the two objection forms, we'll do them one at a time. Both of them have significant value differences. First one, the assessor's opinion of value is $12,152,100. Taxpayer's opinion, $8,771,400. Indicates no current sale of the property within 10 years. All the different elements of the objection form appear to be, the squares and dots seem to be filled in. Is there any additional questions on the objection form that we have relative to any physical changes that have occurred. I see one for parking lot change. Nothing else? Okay, and we do have the agent authorization form, so we're good to go on that one. That takes us then to our second Hatchery Hill property. Parcel number 609-0334226-1. Assessor's opinion of value, $10,045,100. Taxpayer representative's opinion, $7,250,600. Agent authorization is here as well as a list of changes and description of those changes that have occurred. Most of these appear to be renovations or taking care of depreciation items like roof repairs. So many of them would be considered normal maintenance. Some of them are considered modifications based on changing use of the building from office space to retail space or whatever else it was changed to. So as we look at this, it's properly signed and documented. Any other questions from the board members?
I have a question, please.
Carol has a question.
When we're looking at commercial and multifamily assessments, do we assume that these are done on an income basis, or do they need to tell us what basis the assessment was performed under?
We never assume anything.
Kind of figured.
And so our next step is we're going to ask the assessor, since they have significant difference in opinion from that of the taxpayer, to make sure again that they are filed correctly under 7047AF of the statute.
Thank you.
So as we look at these two objection forms, we're going to ask the same questions of the assessor. Did you receive the information you requested as to the income approach to value on these properties that you needed to make a fair determination of value?
We did. We received them on June 9th.
Okay? And that's the same for both properties that we're looking at here?
Correct.
Hearing that, it appears as if the objection forms for the Hatchery Hill properties do represent a complete objection form and will be accepted by the board for further consideration. Agenda item F, Valley View LLC, 2921 Fish Hatchery Road, parcel number 0609-031-5718-2. Again, represented by the same legal representative, and I see an proper agent authorization form. It appears in looking at Hatchery Hill and the Valley View that they're signed by the authorization form is signed by the same person, Stephen Burzell. Can you confirm for us that that's appropriate?
Just looking at it right here, 1 second. That's what I'm showing on mine.
Pardon me?
That's what I'm showing on mine. Are you asking who signed it?
Both of them are signed, two different properties, both signed by Stephen Burzell. Hatchery Hill and now Valley View. Agent authorization form is signed by the same party for
That
two
appears
different
to be so.
properties. I want to confirm that he is an authorized primary owner of the property and authorized to allow you to do that.
Yes, my understanding he's an authorized agent and able to sign on behalf of the property owner. Yes.
So this property owner is under separate names. That's why I'm just concerned and wondering why the same person is signing. They own primary interest in this property?
So a lot of properties will be owned by maybe an individual or a company, and then they're held in different entity names. And so they often have an agent that represents the different entity names that basically are holding the property. So you'll have a single purpose LLC that will hold the property. And so one individual, one company, one group may be responsible for multiple ones, but they'll each have a holding entity for that real estate.
Okay. The concern is that we have the correct authorization on here, and it doesn't say Wisconsin Property Management or anything, so I'm not sure who Mr. Brazel is, but he seems to be the one who signed on different forms, and I want to make sure that's appropriate.
That's who we would contact, who was talking to us to represent them for appear on behalf. So that's our understanding that, yes, they're authorized, and that's why we're here.
Okay.
Sir.
We'll accept that as a clarification as to the ownership and the representation that's allowed underneath the agent's authorization.
Just to add on to that, because all of these properties seem to be owned or signed by Stephen Purcell. So is that something that our city assessor then cross-checks to say, like, yes, this person has an owning stake in all of these properties? Or is that solely?
That's solely the board's responsibility, and if we feel that's not correct, we could ask for additional information to show that fact, that he is authorized to do this. They have legal representation here this morning. I think we can rely on the fact that they would not be here if they hadn't spoken with their clients and given them the proper authorization to be here. If we found that to be wrong at a different point, we could then dismiss the appeal, saying that we found information that was not accurately presented on the agent authorization form. I think because of the responsibilities of the agent that an attorney accepts, they make sure that they have the correct signatures.
Gotcha. Thank you.
It never hurts to double check. When you see the same name on multiples with different parcels, I just wanted to make sure.
And different LLCs.
And different owners,
Yep.
that we have proper authorization for the representation to continue.
Thank you.
This particular property, the assessor's opinion of value, $27,137,000. Taxpayer's opinion, $20,269,800. Again, a significant difference in opinion. There has been no recent sale of the property, as indicated in section 4 of the form. And a significant amount of change, again, appears to be more maintenance items than building structure changes or modifications. I see everything being in order, but before we accept it, I'm going to again ask the assessor, was this property valued based on using the use of the income approach to value?
Yes.
And did you receive the proper documentation that was required to help you formulate that opinion as required by section 7047 AF of the statutes?
We did on June 9th.
Okay. Any other questions on members of the board? Hearing none, we'll accept
Mr.
that.
Chair, would it be possible to revisit item E?
To revisit item D?
E. I just noticed a typographical error on one of the forms.
Certainly.
I apologize for not noting it in a timely fashion.
Hatchery Hill 3,
Correct, for parcel 060903342226-1. On the request for waiver for Board of Review hearing, the property address has a typographical error. It says K Hull, Maine versus K Hill, Maine. I am on
Last page.
last page, page 5. So I wondered if that was an important change that we need to have corrected.
it's a good catch. We aren't to the waiver of the consideration of the waiver at this point. But I guess just like as a correction we made earlier with the board review minutes, catching this one, we can certainly confirm as we look at this for further consideration under the waiver that we have the correct address for that property. And my suspicion is it was somebody who was unfamiliar or just an autocorrect on somebody's computer to put in the wrong address, but we can certainly make sure that that is clarified so we
Thank you.
work through a proper and have proper documentation. Please remind me of that as we go through that so we don't forget it, because we do have a big stack of paper.
We have dispensed with Valley View, item F. Or are we still on that one?
We're still on it because I brought it to the board for discussion, and Carol brought up a point, so I haven't
No problem.
indicated on the record that this objection form appears to be fully completed and acceptable to the board, as I now have. Item Agenda G, TMJ2 LLP. And parcels, and there are numerous parcels. And I will read the first one into the record. I'm not sure why, unless they're all assessed together, it appears this way. My assumption is that they're all assessed together. We'll clarify that with the assessor as we ask him questions for consideration. I'm not sure which one is the primary, but I'll read the first one in. 0709-362-4152-0. Current opinion of value established by the assessor, $9,340,800. Taxpayer's opinion of value, $7,157,900. So as we look at this,
I have a quick question.
we have a quick question. Go ahead.
On the attachment to agent authorization, the addresses and parcels that this agent is authorized to represent do not match all of the parcels listed in the legal description of parcels. So I would like to ask why there's a discrepancy between 4 parcels listed there, and I would also like to know why there's one form for multiple parcels.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, we'll ask you.
Yeah. So my understanding is there was a shift in some of the parcels, and so last year, these were all valued separately, and this year, they were combined into a single parcel. And because if you check, I think on the roll, it maybe has it as a single parcel, but if you check on the assessor's website, it has it as separate parcels still, because it doesn't allow them to combine it within the system. So because we didn't want to leave something off, because on the records that we're seeing electronically, it's showing as single parcel still, but the other ones
It
are
is
showing
confusing.
combined.
Yeah.
So that's why we did one, and then listed them all, just to make sure we're all on the same page, that we're objecting to all these, even though they may be combined or they may be separated.
So I think that clears up the question on the main form, and I probably in your position would have done the same thing. Can you explain then why you didn't default just list all the parcels on the attachment to agent authorization? Or is it maybe on the second TMJ
Or
packet?
might this have been from the town of Madison?
Yes.
So, I think part of it is there's 2 entities that own some of these parcels. And so when they combined them, it didn't fit, because there's 3 entities, 3 property parcels are owned by the TMJ. And then at that same address, there are 4 that are owned by Zimbrick Incorporated. So that will be on another form, and so
Jeez.
that's what you should be seeing. So that's why there's only 4 on this one, because that's just for the one entity, TMJ2 LLP.
Okay, so I guess then, and I am not jealous of you having to figure out these parcel numbers, so please don't take this as any sort of personal comment. The numbers listed in these parcels, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on our docket. in the attachment to agent authorization, the agent has only been authorized to represent on behalf of 4 of said 7 parcels.
So if we, I'm sorry.
Yes, if it's later on, could you just,
So there should be another agent authorization for, I don't
the
have,
Zibrick half?
for the Zimbrick, that should have the other parcels listed that would make up the total that are listed on that objection form.
Are you saying it, Sharif? Is that what you're about to say? Is it okay, Chairperson, if we consider that?
Okay. I think one thing that'll help with the clarification here is this is a transition from the town of Madison, is that correct?
Yeah.
And directing this to the assessor, as you looked at the documentations you got from the town of Madison, it was your determination these should be assessed as one parcel?
Yeah, there's, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the property, but it's up, you can see it from the belt line. It's effectively one building, more or less, but there's a number of parcel lines that don't seem to kind of coincide with, separate sections of the building. For us, it's all one economic unit, so we valued it all on, I believe, let me double check, but I think they're all the improvements are carried, or all value is carried on 0709 362 4152-0. As maybe another side note, since we're talking about it, I think this objection form leaves off, I think, two parcels to the total. So when we got the form in, we looked at the total. So in our system, it shows the values. We can look at the values of each parcel individually, and then when it goes on to the roll, it removes the values from kind of the ones that are assessed with the others. So we looked at the parcel numbers that are provided on the objection form and ensured that the total assessment of those was, coincided with the total assessment shown on the notice. And they didn't add up, and I think we are missing, or the objection form is missing 2 parcels that would get us to the correct total. And those parcels are 0709 362 4105-0 and 0709 362 4313-5. So in total, there's 9 total parcels that go into that assessment of $9,340,800.
When we get to the assessment roll, it is listed as one total number for that parcel, land improvements total. Is that correct?
Correct, and it would be on, the parcel that carries all the value in the roll is 0709 362 4152-0.
Okay. So recognizing the fact that there are, from this document, 2 parcel numbers missing, it still recognizes the fact that the primary parcel is 4152-0, and that carries the full value of the properties, all properties, including the 2 parcel numbers that were not on our agenda item.
Correct, yep.
Chris, if this were to come to us again next year in the future, what would it look like? It wouldn't be these multiple numbers. It would just be the one main number you said, correct?
So we don't really have the ability to change the parcel lines in our office. We can assess stuff together. The county handles all that, and then I've spoken with the county, because this has come up on other parcels, and they typically don't do it unless the property owner requests it. So, technically I could go in and ask them to demolish all these parcel lines and create one full parcel, but that has not been their business practice. They usually only do that kind of on the action of the property owner.
And is this mostly happening on properties that are coming in from the town of Madison that we annexed, or?
There's certainly some in the city here that could do well for that, but yeah, this is kind of an extreme example because it is just an odd one.
Okay.
The key point here is that we have the total value represented in the assessment, and total value for all the correct parcels in the indicated appeal value.
Correct, yeah, that value that they have on the notice there is the full value.
Okay, so you've checked that, and it...
Yep, checked it yesterday.
Okay.
And that main parcel that carries all the value is one listed on the agent authorization form. So my question is properly answered. Thank you.
Okay. After clearing up that detail, I'll then ask the assessor, was this property valued using the income approach?
This one was not.
Okay. What did you receive from the property owner for
So we did receive income and expense information from them. They provided that to us. But based on the cost approach, I don't know that we received anything, but based on the form that was provided, I don't know that we needed anything specific.
So your opinion of value is based on using the Wisconsin Assessment Manual, Volume 2, and creating an opinion of value using the cost approach?
Correct.
Okay. And the taxpayer felt that you should have used the income approach?
I can't speak to them, but I assume so.
Well, since they provided income information, that's my assumption that,
Right.
okay. Is this going to be the same for the second property, TMJ2 LLP?
I mean, in terms of cost approach stuff, yeah, this one's assessed on the cost approach as well.
Okay. Hearing that, looking at the information provided on the objection form and submitted documents. Any other questions from the members of the board? Hearing none, then we'll accept this as a fully completed objection. Agenda item H, same property owner, TMJ2 LLP, parcel number 0709-363-2123-0. I do see the agent authorization form. This one signed by Lon Barr. Mr. Barr is a principal owner of this property.
That I can't say. I can say that they were authorized enough to provide us permission to be able to represent them here today.
Okay. Assessor's value indication of $5,194,100. I'm sure the property owner will be real happy with $1 million. $3,487,000 is the taxpayer's opinion of value. And as we heard, this was also, the assessor's value was developed using the cost approach. I'll ask the assessor, did the taxpayer's representative provide you with income information?
They did.
They did, okay. In reviewing the objection form, Section 4B has no indication that there was any changes in value. I guess this is dates of changes, and it's left empty. So I'm assuming in this case then that there were no changes, since it's 4B, cost of changes or other labor is left blank. That it's either a technical error or that there were none. Since it's hard to determine at a board where you're reviewing this, I'm going to ask the assessor, were there any building permits that you're aware of issued for this property so that we could look at that particular element of the objection form to determine if it's a technical error and it was missed, or if there is something that needs to be considered?
I'm not sure. We don't have anything in our system, but this came in from the town of Madison, so there was a lot of, I'm not sure.
Okay, then I'll ask the taxpayer's representative. There's no indication of any change of any kind to this property, and that item is blank on our form. Can you speak to the factor as to whether or not that was a technical error or if there is changes that we need to consider?
So the form, sorry, sir.
Which form?
I said the form that I'm looking at has no checked under 4B.
I think it might actually not be an error. I think it might be that B, the first question says no. So on the other forms, I believe if there's no change within the last 10 years, then the next question is automatically left blank.
That's correct. That's how we filled it out.
Yeah. So if this one's wrong, I think the rest of them might be wrong, or we haven't clarified that sufficiently.
Good enough. We don't look at these every day, so sometimes you forget what needs to be done and what doesn't, so thank you. Significant change in value. Any other questions of the members of the board of the submission in front of us for TMJ2 LLP? Hearing none, we'll accept this objection as being complete. Schedule it for hearing. Agenda item 15I, Seminole Creek LLC, parcel number 0609 091 9645-4 and 9615-0. So we have two parcels that are basically assessed together. Seminole Creek LLC. Assessor's opinion of value, $7,641,400. Taxpayers' representative's opinion of value, $6,066,800. Again, significant difference in opinion. And we do have authorized agent form. I actually have two of them. So they're covering their bases on both, so good, very good, thank you.
This was in front of us last year. Look at the last page, Carol. Second to last page.
In reviewing the form, I see no indication of how the property was valued, so I'm going to ask the assessor, was this property valued using the income approach to value?
It was.
And did the taxpayers' representatives provide you with the necessary information as required under statute 7047 AF?
I did not receive any income information on this property.
That being the case, I'm going to ask the taxpayers' representative, why not?
That's a fair question. That's something that I'd have to circle back with my client on.
If we don't have that information at the board, we're not going to accept the appeal. So based on the information that's been presented today, the appeal likely will not be considered. How long would it take you to talk to your client to provide this information?
Well, given that it's Friday, I would suspect probably by Wednesday I could probably have a decent answer.
I guess I'm going to leave it to the board. I'll give you background as to what we've done in the past. Based on extensive discussion with our city attorney, the city attorney has informed the board in the past years that we have two options. One, and that's the option we've tended to follow, is if the taxpayer does not provide the information as required, we deny the appeal at this point. Second option would be to allow them a reasonable period of time in which to gather the information and to present it. As I said in the past, we've taken the position when we have professionals working on the appeal, not rather than an individual who might not be aware of the law, but if they haven't done it, the appeal is considered not complete and not accepted. So at this point, I'll open it for discussion to the board as to whether or not you feel we should accept this particular appeal, since they have not complied with Section 7047 AF of the law in providing the correct and current information necessary.
Mr. Chair, as someone who was here last year, I may have a foggy memory of this, but if we look at the form that says request for waiver, I know that's a couple steps ahead, but if you look at that, it says previous year in litigation. So I think we went through the same thing last year potentially with this issue. Does that impact it at all, that maybe that was the reason for it wasn't provided, Mr. Lovell, or not, or do you know?
I wish I could. I was kind of filling in for someone else here today, so just trying to get caught up on things. And like I said, the best thing I could try to do is to try to follow up with the client and see what the situation is with that request, if they received it, and if they do have information, whether or not we can provide it.
Follow-up question to us here as the board, maybe the clerk can help too. If we were to deny this based on the lack of information, what would be the taxpayer's recourse? Would they go to the next level, to circuit court, or would they just be done, or what happens to this?
Sean, there's always the next level.
Right.
Taxpayer.
I think that's the play here. I think they're ready to go to the next level, so that's my words, not yours. I would be comfortable if, certainly discussion can continue, but I think we should deny the request. You've got to provide the information. This is one of the most transparent processes in human history, this board of review. As someone who served in office in the city, I'm proud of transparency, but this is above and beyond. Tracy had said at the onset of the meeting how many times she's noticed this and all this stuff. The person we're dealing with, I'm sure, I know is a really credible, respectable business owner, no qualms about it, but these guys know how the process works, and they should have the information to us. So my request, not to shut down discussion of this panel, I would make a motion to deny based on lack of information.
Okay,
Chair.
further discussion?
Yeah, will we be meeting again to discuss any more or other things? To me, in the end, we want to have a fair assessment, and that should be our guiding force or our desire. But so if we are going to be back for other business, I would have no problem to have this come back. If we're not, let's just say that for whatever reason, then I would say deny it. And I guess, so to me, it comes down, will we be meeting again in the next few weeks?
We will more than likely be meeting again in the next few weeks, but we are not going to be reviewing objection forms anymore.
Correct.
So this is the chance to review the objection forms, and we don't want to have the board open forever like we did last year, so that we can have new objection forms filed.
Okay, then I agree with Sean.
Okay?
And can I just remind the board that if you do have any technical questions, our city attorney is available.
So, Rich, did you second my motion?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so now,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Let the record note, Seminole Creek LLC, parcel number 0609-091-9645-4 is not accepted, as being incomplete, and that the assessor did not receive proper documentation to the income approach as provided under Section 7047 AF of the Wisconsin statutes.
that's by design. They don't want to go to court.
Okay, moving on, we're moving to agenda item 15I.
J.
J. Oh, okay. I forgot to check it off. Thank you. Section 15J, Zimbrick Buick, Inc., parcel number 0709-344-9402-0. Excuse me. Assessor's value on the property, $10,142,800. taxpayers' opinion of value, $8,816,100. Again, a significant difference. I will ask in scanning the form, I see everything is filed and boxes are checked. It says based on, the taxpayer's opinion is based on information provided to the assessor. I'll ask the assessor, was this property valued under the income approach?
Nope.
Okay. What information was then provided to you?
Whatever you see here in the packet is what I would say that or no, there was income information provided again on this one. We just didn't value it using the income approach.
Okay. And was that provided in a timely fashion?
It was, yeah.
So you had it and decided it was not appropriate to use, so that was your determination, and they feel that you should have?
Correct.
Okay. And do we have a proper authorization as agent form? We do. Okay. Any other questions of the board, from the board?
Good to go.
Hearing none, we'll take the objection, we'll accept the objection as submitted. Next item on our agenda, K, 15K Bowman Farms, Inc., parcel number 0609-031-8815-2. Again, 0609-031-8815-2. Assessor's opinion of value is $2 million. Taxpayers' indication on objection form, $1,006,000.
I have a question on Section 4A, if I may. It states that the property was acquired in 2020 for the price of $1, but it does not state if it was purchased, gifted, inheritance, and that feels like I guess my question is what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing the assessor obviously didn't treat that as a
No.
usable sale, so, yeah, I'm guessing it was just a transfer. And a lot of times you'll pay $1, you'll pay $10 just to keep or something.
Okay. Thank you.
I think she wanted to buy it for $2 so they could make 100% profit.
I could definitely up that offer, but fine.
I'm going to ask the assessor a little different question this time. Is this the site of the old milking parlor?
I think so. I'm still relatively new to Fitchburg, but I believe so, yes.
In 4D, does that, the purpose of appraisal, was that a private appraisal that was taken?
I'm guessing yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not it was a financing appraisal, bank appraisal, or
Okay.
yeah, I'm just looking at the date. It was after the sale, so it could have been something that was done to future development.
And Chairperson, is it important that we ask that appraisal had been provided to the?
I have a question for the clerk. This probably is not the parcel I just asked about. Madam Clerk, was this parcel appealed last year?
I can answer that if you'd like.
I'm curious because
Thank you.
okay, go ahead.
It's currently under appeal still
Okay.
in the circuit court process.
So this is not,
No,
milking parlor,
this is not, it's an old gas station is what I
stop
was
and
informed.
go
Yes.
Tony Frank's parcel?
Yep. I believe there's like a pizza thing in there or something right now, or was, I don't know.
Okay. So this is the property, and that's why it's on Section D, indicated value 1.6 million, because I'm, from last year, remember that the city offered to buy the property for 1.6 million.
So does the fact that it's still in objection affect the board's, you said this is still being, sorry, did you say this is still being arbitrated? What was,
It's still being appealed. They appealed it to the next level.
okay,
So it's a continuation. This is basically a continuation of an appeal from last year.
thank you, thank you.
I do have the parcel up on Access Day, and if anybody wanted to see it, you certainly can.
I just wanted to make sure everybody knew what parcel we were talking about, because there have been numerous Bowman parcels that we had under appeal last year. And as I see the documentation here, I recognize it as being what I'd call the old stop-and-go parcel on Fish Hatchery Road. And we do have agent authorization form. And as I look at that agent authorization form, I see all the parcels listed that we looked at last year. Okay. So this was, I'll ask the assessor, was this then valued using the income approach?
Yes.
Okay. And did you receive the documentation necessary to help you reach a conclusion in a timely fashion as required by law?
We did on, looks like June 13th.
Any other questions by the board of the information provided? Hearing none, then we'll indicate that on the record that the objection form is accepted as submitted. Agenda item 15L, FTC Retail East, parcel number 06091523054-2. Property address 2690 Research Park Drive. Assessed value $7,187,500. Taxpayers' opinion $5,508,400. Section of the form says, based on information provided to the assessor. So I will ask the assessor, was this property valued using the income approach?
Yes.
And did you receive the income approach information you requested in a timely fashion?
We did.
And what date was that?
June 15th.
For the taxpayer's representative under section 4A, it says it indicates purchase, but there's nothing given for details.
So just check with my assistant on that. It was marked no. I'm guessing that you couldn't uncheck a box. So sometimes in the forms, once you click a box, you can't click it and it goes away.
That's C you're talking about?
A.
So I'm guessing that's the case unless the assessor is aware of a sale. And if there was a sale, it would be in a real estate transfer term, which would be publicly available. But I'm assuming that there's not.
I don't have any sales recorded.
Okay. And we have a properly documented agent authorization form.
And we did get all the information from them, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And just to note, this property is in previous year in litigation as well, but we did get the information needed.
Correct. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hearing that and reviewing the form, any other questions from members of the board?
Just a quick question on section 4B. Is that another one of those boxes that can't be unchecked? Where it says the date of changes, the cost of changes, and then it says, does this cost include the value of all labor, including your own? Excuse me, the box is marked yes, but there's no values or dates of changes filled in on the form.
So I believe it's attached
Yeah, there's an
to the next
attachment.
page.
Thank you. I didn't know if the value needed to be filled in on that line under B as well.
They've graciously put it on as an attachment, so that's acceptable.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, will indicate that this objection is also considered timely filed and acceptable.
We're on another page of the agenda, Mr. Chair. We're moving quick here. Nicole, I warned you.
I'm asking half the question, so if anyone's mad about the time, they can be mad at me.
Okay, we are now on Agenda 15M, gold leaf parcels. Again, multiple parcels, 609-142-0306-2. And we'll continue with the additional parcels that are indicated as being considered as part of this one primary parcel. And we're going to ask the assessor to confirm that this is the primary parcel that we're looking at. Indicated assessed value $85,184,800. Taxpayer's opinion of value or agent's representative is $66,893,082. Pretty specific for a $66 million property, but so be it. As we look at the information, I see an agent authorization form signed by Ron Fiedler. I see multiple authorization forms signed by Mr. Fiedler.
The authorization forms do all reference the same parcel of land. So to your point, Mr. Chairperson, I would ask that we confirm that, just like the last one, the one parcel of land that's referenced over and over is that main one, so we can consider this authorization acceptable. So I guess, Chris, to you, can you confirm for us, just like you did the last one, that all the other parcels listed under?
Yeah.
The one that's over and over on this form is that main one?
Which form are you seeing that on?
Like
Sorry.
the agent authorizations? Unless I'm missing something, it looks like,
Yeah, there are different parcel numbers on
Are
each
they?
authorization form. That is correct. And that would be section 1,
so I am
bottom
missing
left.
something. Thank you so much for that.
Most welcome.
Again, these aren't something we look at every day.
No.
So, no problem. We'd rather be sure than to be wrong. So thank you for double checking on that. So I will ask the assessor, was this property valued using the income approach?
It was.
And did you receive the information under section 7047 AF in a timely fashion?
We did not receive any information on this property.
Nothing whatsoever?
Not any income information, not that I've seen.
Okay. I will then address the property representative's agent as to ask him why that occurred.
Yeah, and again, I'd have the same response as before, that I would need a couple days to confirm with my client.
Okay? So we're in a position similar to what we were with the one other appeal.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, if I could jump in here. Again, respect the owner for developing in Fitchburg and being a good business owner, but this is the same taxpayer that did not provide the information from the previous one that we denied. So I would make a motion again to follow what we've done and to deny this request from this committee based on previous. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Nicole.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say I would second that motion.
So we're just talking about this one appeal, or we're talking about the rest of the appeals?
Well, I guess I would ask Chris, of the parcel numbers related to this taxpayer, based on this information in front of me right now, item M, none of the information was provided based on income.
Not on the two, so this Gold Leaf Fitchburg one that we're looking at right now, and then the Seminole Creek one. I did not receive any information on either of those. The rest of them, we'll obviously get into this, but the other ones, I've received income information on all the other ones, but I don't know if he has any other ones in here. I didn't look specifically at the.
So for M is similar to what, with Gold Leaf, is similar to the same actions were not provided by the taxpayer on M as they were similar to Seminole Creek I.
Correct, yep.
Okay, motion, and then we have a second by Nicole. Okay, so I stick with the motion on the table.
Okay, we have a motion. Any additional discussion? Excuse me, motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Again, following the pattern we've established, that the taxpayer did not comply with Section 7047AF of the Wisconsin statutes, providing the assessor with the necessary income and expense information, this appeal is denied. This objection form is considered incomplete.
Did you need a official vote on that?
Yes, let's vote. Sorry. I'm trying to get through these things.
You're doing a phenomenal job.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record note it was a unanimous vote. Moving on to agenda item 15N, Howard and Associates Profit Sharing Plan, Royalty Arms. Taxpayer's opinion of value, $1,963,300. Assessed value, $2,782,800. You notice I changed that up this time just to see if you're listening.
Yeah, I'm listening, Mike. That was good.
I don't want to put you to sleep, people. Okay, so as I look at the objection form, do we have an agent's authorization? We do.
Just to clarify, this is parcel 0609-063-0961-3.
That's it. Okay, property address is 5670 King James Court. So I will ask the assessor, did you value this property using the income approach?
We did.
Did it?
And did you get the necessary information from the agent or the taxpayer in a timely fashion to use it as required under the statutes?
We did on June 15th.
Okay. So we have an objection form, a small attachment for adjustments or correction or changes to the property, our authorization form. Any further discussion or questions from the members of the board? Hearing none, we'll accept this as a completed and acceptable objection. Moving on then to Tawny Apartment Homes. Parcel number 0609-061-5571-7. Again, agent authorization form is attached, indicated value of assessment $3,253,800. Taxpayer's opinion $2,705,600. Section 4, all boxes are checked no. So I'll ask of the assessor, was this property valued using the income approach to value?
Yes.
And I will then ask the follow-up question, did you receive the required information under Section 7047AF?
We did on June 15th.
Okay. Any questions by the members of the board? Hearing none, we'll accept it as a acceptable objection form and add it to our hearing schedule. Okay, something happened here. I have Second Tawny Apartments, and I don't have a packet for them. Oh, I do. It just starts with Tom Ripley. Excuse me.
Yeah, this is a different form, I think. Is this the one, Mr. Chair, is this? You need to.
Oh, we're going through it brief.
So
thought
this
about
is a
asking
different
that, but if-
parcel and a different agent.
Right back. I don't think they're going to talk without me.
Maya?
The form looks different, but it is actually the same
Yeah,
Department of Revenue form number
they had the same numbers.
indicated with the same date of publication. So I don't know if he printed it from a computer or what the difference is, but it's exactly the
Mr.
same
Chair,
information.
before we move on here, just a quick question. As Mr. Sean leaves the dais there a second, are his properties completed? Or,
For the review process, correct.
okay, just want to be efficient, okay. Just curious, okay, thank you.
This is a perfect time for us to take a short recess.
Yay.
So at this point, I'm going to recess the board for the next 10 minutes so that we can then take a look at the remainder of our agenda and not feel like we're tied to this chair. So please, we'll adjourn the board for the next 10 minutes, recess the board for the next 10 minutes, and come back, and then hopefully our pressure tanks will be relieved. You know, I hadn't thought about that.
Bang it, Mike, come on.
We got this big hammer.
Nicole's not out of order yet.
Yeah.
That's right. Rich is always sitting there, don't sit in Rich's chair.
Well, after our pause for the cause, let's get back to business. And just before we took our little recess, we were starting to look at a appeal for Tom Ripley Tahi Apartment Homes, parcel number 0609-061-5551-1. Taxpayer's opinion of value, and this form is slightly different, so please bear with me as I look for the information, is $100. Total assessed value is $223,800. So a significant difference in value. As we look at the objection form, there's one key document, section of the document, which is section 5, which under Wisconsin statutes, the taxpayer, in this case taxpayer's representative, does have the right to ask to have a member of the Board of Review not participate for any reason. Doesn't have to be just cause, it's just their, I guess we'll say their opinion. And in this particular case, section 5A, there's been a request that I not participate in this particular review. That being the case, I'm going to ask the person who was identified as our vice chair this morning to continue to review the objection form and to make a determination for the board as to the proper continuation or handling of this objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Why don't we ask the taxpayers' representative to come up just to be sworn in if there's any questions? Is that, Madam Clerk, if you could do that? Welcome back, Gary.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I'm going to swear in the city assessor. do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And I'll swear in Mr. Kohlenberg. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
And we are on item number 15P. Am I correct on that? Or 15O? 15O. Okay. Before we get started here, I just want to point out to the committee here, under legal description, 15P, that's what I thought. Yeah. So before we get started here, section 2, just legal description or parcel number. Just make sure we're aware, and I want to just ask the clerk to clarify this, or the city assessor. Mr. Kohlenberg, as a taxpayer's representative, put in the parcel number 225-0609-061-5551-1. That is correct. That,
225 is City of
yeah,
Fitchburg.
correct.
Department of Revenue.
Right, just want to make sure that first we've seen that number, so I just want people to know that. Okay, in front of us is Tom Ripple, Tauhee Apartment Homes, address in Fitchburg, as you see. Going through the form here. Mr. Chair, before turning over to me, did acknowledge item 5, section 5. I guess I would ask the city assessor, what approach did you take to this property, an income approach?
This one is on the cost approach. It's a vacant lot.
Okay. Vacant lot, okay. And then did you receive the appropriate materials in a timely manner?
We did.
Okay. And since it's a vacant lot, we did not need income materials, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'll just leave it here for a little bit, see if the committee has any objections to the form at all. I am seeing no concerns with this form. I open it up for any folks to add in at all. Okay, with that, we'll move on to, we'll put this one into for the future. And I will turn it back over to Chairman Couillard.
Thank you, members of the board.
Thank you.
Here, I thought I was going to get a break. He wants to come back. You did such a good job, Sean. I just wanted you to continue. All right. Thank you, Sean. We are now looking at, from our agenda, item 15Q, Hy-Vee Inc. And for those new members of the board, this has been a property under appeal for several years now. So I'm quite sure they're doing this as a continuation of their appeal, which I believe is, I don't know if it's in court, but it's certainly on the court calendar someplace. And I see a request for continuation to court. Agent authorization is attached as well. Okay, so the objection in front of us is for Hy-Vee Inc., parcel number 0609-072-0015-2. Assessed value established by the assessors, $13,398,200. Taxpayer's opinion of value is $11,500,000. And indicates that there have been past appraisals, and the appraisal is being attached to the objection. I do not have a copy of the appraisal, so I'm going to ask the assessor if they have received that appraisal report.
We have one thing, or maybe a couple things to note on this.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Sorry.
sorry.
Didn't realize we had a different person sitting there. Didn't look up, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Chris, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Abbott, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping me on the straight and narrow, Madam Clerk. Because I was looking at the form and didn't look up to see that we had a change in representatives here, so I apologize for that. Welcome to the Board of Review. And we were getting information or clarification from the assessor on the information provided, what says attached appraisal.
So we have looked at the appraisals. A couple things to note on this form. The property owner is listed as Hy-Vee Inc. and reference section A, 4A as well. It notes that there was not, it says, within the last 10 years, did you acquire the property? It says no. There was a sale on this property in November of 2022 that transferred full ownership from Hy-Vee to Fitchburg ZC Essential DST, who is listed as the owner of this property and not Hy-Vee.
So on January 1st, which is our assessment date in Wisconsin, there was a recent sale. Have you investigated that sale to determine if it's a fair market sale?
We did review the sale.
And is your opinion of $13,398,200 reflect that particular recent sale of a subject property?
We do. The sale was for a total value of $18,188,057.
And did that include all realty and personal property, or what have you determined it included?
To my knowledge, it is a real estate sale. I'm just reading information off of the real estate transfer return. But yeah, to our knowledge, it's a full real estate sale, meets the criteria for arm's length. Yeah.
So I'm then going to ask Mr. Ebert.
Ebbett, thank you.
Can you give us some clarification as to why the sale and the new owner as of January 1st is not reflected on this document?
Yes, sir. So the objection form asked within the last 5 years, was this property listed, offered for sale? It's my opinion it was not. The transaction in question is a sale leaseback. It was part of a portfolio purchase, and therefore, in my opinion, not a fair market value sale. And Hy-Vee maintains the continued ability under that sale leaseback to pay the property taxes and continue to have the opportunity to appeal those assessments.
Okay. Then I would ask the assessor, how did you value this property? Was it an income approach or market approach, or what was your basis?
This one was done on a cost approach.
Okay. With the sale leaseback, it now indicates that there's a rental stream being generated from this property, from the former owner to the new investment group. Was that income information provided to you? Did you request that information?
We didn't request the information.
Okay, so it wasn't provided because you didn't request it.
Right.
Knowing that now, are you going to be requesting it potentially of the taxpayer?
I would assume so. It's tough to say. So this is, this is a unique property in some ways. I would expect that, yes, next year we will probably be requesting that information. This is another one that, as you stated, it's in that legal process. So we may have gotten some information. I haven't reviewed it all. Again, this is a long, drawn-out one that's been going on long before I was here. So I haven't gotten the full exposure to it yet, we'll say.
Were there any additional building permits that were taken out in the year 2022?
1 second, let me check. We have a couple permits in 2022, one for a water heater replacement and then one for an installation of, it says 16 Tesla supercharger stations.
Okay. The new board members may be wondering why I asked this question. In that last year, there had been considerable amount of new construction. when this appeal came before us, that was not identified on the objection form. And in our first review, we denied it. Since the board was in session longer than we wanted it, but for many days, it gave the taxpayer's representative an opportunity, since we were in session, to file an amended objection form. And based on that amended objection form, we then heard the appeal. So that's why I'm asking to see if that was the situation or not this year. Any questions from the members of the board?
I have one question. I'm still not understanding why the form lists Hy-Vee Inc. as the property owner when our city assessor stated that Fitchburg CZ owns the property. Can you clarify?
Yeah, it's along the same vein as the first taxpayer representative mentioned. Based on the way these properties can be held, Hy-Vee is who I'm authorized for, and that's who the authorization has been signed by. They continued to get, I believe, the tax bill at the 5820 Westtown Parkway and continue to have the obligation to pay the property taxes on this property. So that's who I'm authorized by. I do want to make one clarification based on what's on 4B. The number I cited for the Isle online kiosk, that's probably a little higher than the actual cost. That was based on the accounting number that I received from Hy-Vee. The actual cost, I believe, for that is $639,000 or thereabouts. There was a 5% markup that was included in the number that I provided on the form. So I just want to make sure that's clarified for what's on the form.
Are you asking for the form to be edited? Or
No,
are you giving us additional?
Just giving additional. I mean, one thing I'll say about these forms is it can be difficult to put a lot of information into a limited space. So.
Any additional questions from the members of the board? I have one just follow-up question with the taxpayer. Well, actually, there's assessor. What's the status of this case? Is it in circuit court, or where does it stand?
It's in circuit court.
In circuit court. So this basically is a continuation of the prior appeal of the property that we're looking at.
And I could add some if you'd like, since I'm familiar with the court docket. It's scheduled for trial mid-October with a discovery deadline of, I believe, September 11th, up until which point we would have a court-ordered mediation. So that's where we're at on that.
So question for this group here. Why is it necessary for us to hear this? Or what are we wasting each other's time? Because it seems like this is this part of the public record that?
It's a good question, but the question revolves around that each year's assessment stands alone. And so to protect their appeal rights, they need to file the form and make sure that when they go to court, that they have all their ducks in a row, wherever that phrase came from, and to make sure that this year's assessment is considered as part of the decision and review of the court.
And just a question, general question maybe for me, but for the group, our group up here. Who represents the city in that? Chris, does the assessing department have its own attorney, or how does that work in that?
Yeah, so we contract outside of the city attorney. These cases, as you probably know, get very complex and require a lot of time and attention. So we contract out with a separate attorney, Amy Seibel.
That is the city's attorney, not the Board of Review's attorney.
Correct, yeah.
Or the city assessor's department.
Right, yeah, mm-hmm.
I don't see an objection to this, Mr. Chair. I would urge this to move on.
I agree. Form appears to be complete, and we'll accept the appeal.
Thank you.
Item agenda 15R, Fitchburg Apartments, 1902 Pike Drive. Assessed value I didn't read the parcel number. 0609-031-1801-2. And there are two, guess it's one. Fitchburg Apartments LLC. Assessed value, $5,276,700. Taxpayers' opinion of value, $4,550,800.
Chair, before we begin, swear in Mr. Markovitz, and then he did supply additional forms within the 2-hour period this morning to go with his 3 objections.
Okay?
So Chris, I'll swear you in first.
Sure.
Please state your name for the record.
Yep.
No,
Oh.
I'd like the taxpayer's representative. When-
Oh, yeah, sure. This is Craig Selzer from Von Briesen and Roper.
Okay, thank you. Please continue.
Okay. Chris, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And do you solemnly swear, Chris, do you solemnly swear that, not you, Chris, I'm sorry.
Craig, that's okay.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll pass out the forms that he submitted.
I believe those were already previously submitted, so they might be duplicates.
I want to know why Sean's got to wear the fancy clothes at the law firm and you get to come in the golf clothes here. I'm impressed.
I think I had a longer trip.
I'm impressed.
I came from Oak Creek.
Oh, there you go. Thank you for coming over.
Oh, thank you.
So, Madam Clerk, just for the record, would you please describe the information that you just distributed to us? As soon as you get back to your chair.
Thank you, Chair. So this morning I was handed 3 packets. One is a email sent to me regarding assessment for 1902 Park Drive. It has an agent authorization form listing attorneys Alan Markovich, Joseph J. Rowling, and Craig M. Salser as agents for parcel number, I guess it's not on there, for Fitchburg Apartments LLC, 1902 Pike Drive. The objection form, a copy of the objection form, which should be in your packet already. And a request for waiver, listing the agent's name as Alan Markovich and Joseph R. Rowling. The second one I received was an email regarding 2102 High Ridge Trail. An agent authorization form listing attorneys Alan Markovich, Joseph J. Rowling, and Craig M. Salser for Fitchburg Pines Apartments, parcel 0609-033-8500-0. A request for waiver for this parcel, listing agents Alan Markovich and Joseph J. Rowling. And a copy of the objection form, which should be in your packets. And lastly, I received a letter with an email on it for attachments 2301-2325 Traceway Drive. An agent authorization form listing Alan Markovich, Joseph J. Rowling, and Craig Seltzer for Fairways Apartments LLC, parcel 0609-032-9125-2, 0609-032-9650-2, 0609-032-9200-2, a request for waiver form listing attorneys Alan Markovitz and Joseph J. Rowling as agents, and a objection form for Fairways Apartments LLC, which should be listed in your packet materials.
If I may, all the information I think was previously provided. It was just in case we needed additional copies. So I think it's probably duplicative of what you already have.
So there's nothing, I'm looking through this same thing, it doesn't seem,
The only thing that would be new and what was submitted on the 20th was an updated agent authorization, so I could appear today.
okay. I see that, thank you.
That was about to be my conclusion, but
I would cut to the chase, help you out.
yeah, so thank you for clearing that up for us so that we know that you're the appropriate person to be talking to. Thank you. So getting back to our agenda, we were starting with Fairway Apartments and looking at the objection form.
Fitchburg Apartments.
And as I look at it and read the information, I would ask the assessor then, how did you value this how did you establish the value on this property?
We used an income approach on this property.
Okay? And as we've asked you in other reviews that we've conducted this morning, under section 7047AF of the Wisconsin statutes, did you receive the income information for this property in a timely fashion?
We did on, let's see here. Hang on. 5/31, May 31st.
Thank you. Any questions from members of the board? Hearing none, and knowing that we have an updated agent authorization form, we will identify that as attachment 1, I guess, to this form. And consider the appeal timely filed. That's correct. So the next one in our agenda is S, Fitchburg Pines Apartments, LLC, parcel 0609-033-8500-0. Current assessment, $30,006,600. Taxpayer's opinion of value, $24,987,800.
I have a brief question. In the agent authorization forms, I was just noticing that the addition of you, Mr. Salzer, is signed by a different person than who originally granted authorization in the agent authorization presented earlier. Can you just confirm, as the chairperson has, Mr. Chairperson has asked before, that this person is allowed to sign and validate a change of agent of authorization?
Yeah, if you notice at the bottom of the agent authorization, it's signed by the manager of the LLC, which would have power to do so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure, I have a question for you or the assessor. Item 4, section 4B, second half of that, Chris, records request for permits submitted on 6/12/2023, awaiting response as of filing date of this objection. What's that mean? Just
Records request. Is this one, is there an open records request on this one, Tracy? I'm not specifically sure on this one. I know we
Yes.
had, okay.
I've cut, yeah, we made an open records request for the permits.
Okay.
Is that, I was gonna ask why. I mean, do you share or just,
We didn't have the information readily available to provide to the board, so we needed to go through
oh, okay.
the municipality.
So you used us to get the information you need to give to us.
Correct.
Good for you, man. Okay. I just hadn't seen that before, and thank you for your transparency on that. So you fishing? Is that, Chris, that answer for you specific?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Thank you for that.
So just so the new members of the board understand, what you're looking for is the property record card and any documentation the assessor has used in creating the value?
No, we're looking for specifically any permits that may have been pulled for repair work or what have you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's, with that property, I can understand that.
And to your knowledge, there have been none?
No,
That doesn't slow down any of your work on your end at all, Chris, on this, does it?
No, we're not disconnected from the permit process, but that's handled upstairs, the open records request. Typically, I believe, starts with Tracy and then finds its way to the
Okay.
appropriate channels.
That doesn't tangle up what you guys do?
No.
Okay.
Okay, hearing that and knowing that the request for building permit information didn't affect the indicated values submitted by the assessor. Any other questions from members of the board? So we have a proper agent's authorization, and we have completed objection form. We'll consider it acceptable and add it to our hearing agenda. Fairways Apartments, next one. Parcel number 0609-032-9125-2. Assessor's value, $3,619,800. Taxpayer's opinion, $2,528,300. And for point of clarification, we have the same request here for building permit information from the city building permit office. And I will ask the assessor, how did you value this particular property?
On an income approach.
Okay. And did you receive the necessary information you needed as required under statute 7047AF?
We did, on May 31st.
And I have one updated agent's authorization form left. So I will add this as an attachment, which I forgot to do on the last one. Any additional questions from members of the board?
That's a different parcel number. It's not.
Can you repeat that, Rich, into the microphone?
I believe the last attachment was for the next item on the agenda, which was for parcel 9200, and we're currently reviewing a parcel 9125. So you gave us 3 attachments, which were for, but there were 4 properties.
Really for R, S, and U is what I ascertained, I thought.
Yeah, there are multiple parcel numbers listed.
Correct. On that last agent form for Fairways, it lists the 3 parcels for the next 3 objection forms.
Again, Rich, thank you for checking the details. We want to make sure we have our authorizations correct. And it appears as if we have one form that covers the next 2 appeals as well as the current one. Any additional questions? Hearing none, we will accept this objection form for Fairway Apartments LLC as being complete and acceptable. We have 2 more for Fairway Apartments, U and V. U is parcel number 0329200-2. V is 609-032-9650-2. Both of these have significant value, so we'll look at them independently, starting with U. Assessed value on this parcel is $22,334,100. Taxpayers' opinion of value, $15,400,000. So I will ask of the assessor, how did you develop your assessed value on this property?
Using an income approach.
And did you receive income information in a timely fashion to help you in the process?
We did on May 31st.
Okay. And again, for clarification, the records request that's on here is for building permits, since the taxpayers' representative didn't have them, to make sure that they were covered. And that did not affect your value, that you could tell of this $22 million, Chris? The building permits?
Say again? Right, yeah, yeah, correct.
Okay.
Is it 23 on this?
Any other questions from?
So I do have a question. The request for
hang on.
waiver, or maybe we address that. There's a discrepancy in the assessor value on the first page of 22,334 and 23,334 on the last page.
Oh, yeah, that's correct, sorry. The value, yeah, that we have on file is $23,334,100, not 22.
Okay. So the objection form there is, has a typo or something.
Presumably.
Great catch, thank you. Any other questions from members of the board? Again, just recognizing that we have the same agent authorization on file. The objection form has been accepted as complete. Fairway Apartments, 15V on our agenda. Taxpayers' opinion of value, $5,056,600. Assessed value, $7,180,700. In reviewing section 4, all boxes are checked no. We have a agent's authorization form that was attached earlier and identified correct agent. Any other questions from members of the board? Hearing none, we'll accept the appeal objection form as submitted. Next item on our agenda, 15W Realty Income Corporation, AMC Theater, parcel 0609-071-1005-8. Current assessed value, $15,852,400. Taxpayers' opinion of value, $5,425,000. And just for the record, we want to make sure, since this is a multiple parcels, that all the parcels that are represented in the $15 million are identified properly.
Correct, yep.
Okay. And I believe this is a continuation of a prior year's
It is,
review as well.
yes. I'm looking up just to make sure I don't have an authorized agent sitting here that, and I don't see anyone at the table. And how did you value this particular property? Cost approach.
Okay. And litigation continues.
Yes, I think this is quite close to trial, if I recall.
Okay. Any questions by members of the board? I ask that because it says on the bottom that it's supposed to take 45 minutes, so I want to... You're okay if we end it then, and accept it? Okay, we'll accept it. Next on our agenda, item 15X, Artisan Village LLC, parcel number 0609-012-865-052. Again, 0609-012-8605-2. Artisan Village LLC, current assessment $14,628,500. Taxpayers' opinion $11,916,792. Very specific. We have agent authorization, Matthew Meyer. Present or not? No? Okay.
I have a question on the form, please.
Go ahead, Carol.
Under 4A, it would appear that the land was purchased in 2019 at a price of $2,170,000. And then under B, it says the cost of the changes that were occurred on 12/31 of 2020 was $21,354,611. Yet the assessed value is only 14 and 11 in dispute, and I'm wondering if that 21 million number is incorrect.
I would say it's probably correct, and this is something we had last year but didn't take on the appeal because it wasn't, the objection wasn't completed correctly. And these are subsidized apartments.
Okay, that makes sense then, thank you.
It says that on 12/11/2018 WIDA appraisal.
See that now, thank you.
Can I jump in here quick? Just one thing to note.
Sure.
This is another one of those parcels that has, it's technically two separate parcels. And the one that's listed on here, the 0609-012-8605-2, covers the value for, that's the one the value is carried on in the roll.
Okay, so both parcels are assessed together.
Correct.
And how did you value the property?
We use an income approach.
And did you request and receive income information on this property in a timely fashion?
We did. This is another one that's in the legal process currently, and we got information. We've received a fair bit of information throughout the process. I think the latest was in like February, the most recent stuff we've gotten.
Okay. Any other questions from the members of the board?
I have a quick question. When we do an income approach, are things such as subsidized housing taken into account in that model?
Yes, so there's specific case law that guides how to assess subsidized housing. To put it kind of simply, you kind of, the case law suggests that you can't use market rate models for them. In this case, we have the information that we requested of them and feel that we're providing a fair assessment.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. Item 15, we'll accept the appeal then as filed for Artisan Village being, objection form being complete. Just checking to make sure it was signed. Next item, 15Y. Novation Senior Apartments. Current assessed value, $5,618,100. Taxpayers' opinion of value, $4,053,000. $517,269. Again, very specific. And I will ask the assessor, in what manner did you value this particular property?
This one was done using an income approach.
Okay. Just looking to see if we have a proper agent's authorization. It appears we do. We don't have an agent representative here this morning. Okay. So since the income approach to value was utilized, did you request and receive income information as required under Wisconsin statute?
We did. We received information during open book.
And that information was received, but it didn't result in an adjustment during open book period to the assessment?
We did change it during open book.
So what
We reduced the value in open book by $615,000.
And that determination still leaves you roughly $500,000 between you and the taxpayer's opinion.
When did they fill this out? Almost $1 million, a little bit more. So our value currently sits at, So this is incorrect on the form then, because the value that we've got in our system, and which would be on the roll, is just over $5 million. So $5,003,100. They're showing a value on this form of $5,618,100. So yes, about $500,000 off.
Still a significant amount.
Oh, okay. So they took the initial assessment on their form, or the initial assessment we had, and listed that out on their form.
Okay.
But you subsequently dropped it. You've dropped that to $5,003,100.
Correct.
And when was that decision made?
We have a note in our system on June 7th, and we sent out a follow-up notice on the 18th June 8th with an updated value.
So the other side is, the taxpayers received that, of course.
I would assume so. We sent it out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any additional questions? Hearing none, we will accept the appeal as submitted. Schedule it for hearing with our other cases.
Chair, if I may add for these next appeals from Castile Affordable Housing, the agenda does not list all the parcel numbers on it because of the fact that they weren't submitted until yesterday after the agenda and packet had to be published. But they are all in your packet materials. I believe there's 8 of them. And they will be added to the minutes.
Okay. Hearing that there are 8 parcels. Well, first I want to ask the clerk, you feel that information was timely submitted?
It was timely submitted. There was a notice of intent and a original objection form listing all of the parcels on one form, which is also in your packet at the very back of the 8 newly submitted objection forms. I was waiting for the amended versions to come in.
Before we move on, I just want to make sure I'm totally correct on this. I have the 8 objection forms that we had in the packet, plus the original.
That is correct.
So this is a duplicate of one of the 8 that was submitted, or do we have 9 total?
You'll have 8 parcels total. The 9th one was the one that he submitted that listed all of the parcels,
Okay,
not knowing that the parcels need to have their own objection forms.
okay. And since they were here and then followed up with additional documentation, since this was filed timely, we've accepted all of them as part of this review process.
That's correct.
Okay. A lot of paper. So please let the record note that Castile Affordable Housing LLP Maple Glen Apartment Home has significant value in multiple parcels that we'll be looking at and reviewing. So, (15Z) on our agenda. Guess we'll do them one at a time to make sure they're all covered. First parcel, 0709-354-0923-5. Current assessed value, $1,181,600. Taxpayer's opinion of value, $1,037,000. Nothing included in section 4 of the objection form. Do we have an agent's authorization, or are these submitted by the owner?
They are submitted by the owner.
Okay. I will then ask the assessor, in the valuation process, how did you develop your opinion of value?
We use an income approach, and we did receive appropriate income information during the open book process.
And when did you receive that?
During open book, we received on a number of different occasions, just different information. So.
Okay. And during open book, with that additional information, did you adjust the value?
We did. Hang on a second, I can get that for you. What's the first parcel? What's the parcel in question right now? I don't have all 8 separate ones. I just have the one.
0923-5.
Okay.
Chris, I can give you mine if you need them.
No, that's all right. So during open book, we adjusted the value of this one down $390,700.
390,700?
Correct.
Okay, and there's been no response from the taxpayer at this point? They didn't withdraw their objection?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Any questions from members of the board? It appears to me that if the value that they've indicated is $1,037,000 and you've taken it down $390,000, you're below their opinion of value.
Hang on. Let me go back to that. What's their stated value on this one? Opinion of value?
Their opinion of value is $1,037,000.
$1,037,000. We're at $1,181,600.
So this is the revised figure.
And you said you revised that by $390,700.
So the initial value would be $390,700 above the $1,181,000. What are they showing, or what are they showing for our value on this one? Sorry.
$1,181,600.
Yeah, that's correct. That's our current value on it, after open book.
After open book.
Yeah, so it initially would have been whatever that is plus,
Okay.
yeah.
So this is the adjusted value or open book value that they've indicated here.
Right.
Gotcha. Any other questions from members of the board? Okay. They provided the necessary information. We will accept the objection form as submitted by the property owner. We have a similar factor on this one with a assessed value, again, at $1,181,600. Is that an adjusted value after open book review?
It is. That's a corrected value after open book.
Okay. And was this property valued? How was this property valued?
This property was valued using an income approach. We received information from the property owner during open book.
Okay.
I have a question.
Well, I just realized I didn't read the property parcel number in the record, so as we look at each of these, got to make sure we got that taken care of, and then we'll come right back to you, okay, Alden? We're now looking at parcel 07093540912-8, the objection form for that parcel, which is very similar to the one we just looked at. And now that we're all looking at the same parcel and know which one we're talking about, please go ahead, Eldon, with your question.
Just the numbers were exactly the same, so I guess I was wondering if that value was for all the properties, or do some of them change after this one?
So the income approach, so these are all owned by the same property owner, obviously. And our income approach just utilizes the number of units, and so we assume kind of an average rent for, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. So in this case, I believe these are both, let me look quick to make sure. They're both 12 units, so that's why the values are the same. So the total value, I don't know if you guys have this as well, but it's the one that he had all of his objections on. The total value for all the parcels that we have is $11,830,100. But in any event, yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep, thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions? Hearing none, and correcting my error of not reading in the parcel number, we'll then accept this objection as complete and accept it for hearing. Next parcel, 070935400967-3. Current assessed value, $1,181,600. Taxpayer's opinion, $1,037,000. Is this the same after board open book change that we're reflecting here?
Correct.
And I know it's redundant, but I'm going to ask, how did you value this particular property?
This one was valued utilizing an income approach, and we received income information from the property owner during open book.
Any questions on this objection from members of the board? We'll add it to our approved group and move on to the next one. Very similar, but a little different. Parcel number 070935400956-6. Assessed value $1,406,700. Taxpayer's opinion $1,235,000. Again, Castile Affordable Housing LP. And I know this is redundant, but we want to make sure that we have it in the record. Is this an after board open book change correction on this value?
It is.
Okay. And how did you value this property?
This property was valued using an income approach, and we received the appropriate information during open book.
Any questions from members of the board? Hearing none, we will accept this appeal. Objection as being properly filed and timely and properly filed. Next one, 0709-354-0934-2, $1,425,400, assessed value, taxpayer's opinion, $1,235,000. Again, was this an after the board of review, after the open book reduction?
It is.
So if anybody looks at my notes, it says AOB, which is after open book. So they're not confused by my shorthand. And was the taxpayer, did the taxpayer provide necessary income and expense information as requested?
They did during open book.
Any questions from members of the board? Another situation with exactly the same values, same property owner, Castile Affordable Housing, parcel number 0709-354-0901-1, $1,425,400, assessed value, opinion of value, $1,235,000. So we'll refer to the assessor again. How did you establish this value?
Using an income approach, we got the necessary information during open book.
And the $1,425,000 is an after open book change.
It is.
Any additional questions from members of the board? Somebody's got to ask a question. I'm going to think you're sleeping over there. Okay, next one, 709-354-0978-0. Value is the same, $1,425,400. Assessed value adjusted after open book.
Correct, and we valued this property using an income approach, and we received the necessary information during open book.
Okay. Any questions, additional questions by members of the board? Is there any way next year you can assess these together?
I can do my best, yeah.
I know from the parcel numbers, but it's just, I should have had these parcels combined if it's all by the same owner and the contiguous properties.
The ones that we assess, for just as a side note, the ones that we assessed newly this year, and we're going to come to some of those in a second, those were all previously, so and I talked to our legal counsel last year, she said, please assess a bunch of these together, and I did it for a bunch of them, but these didn't occur to me till after the fact, so
Okay.
yes, it's on my list.
Not that we want to give you work, it just, we don't want as much work. That's
Sure.
Castile Affordable Housing LP, parcel 0709-354-0945-9, assessed value, $2,602,400, opinion of value, $170,000. I'll reach out to the assessor and ask how was this value established?
We used an income approach to generate this value. We received income information during open book from the property owner, which is reflected in the value that you got here, this $2,602,400.
So that's an after open book change?
Correct.
Okay. Any additional questions by the board? And the last one is the biggest value.
Well, that one
So this is the
that's-
consolidation.
Correct, yep. Those are the old forms, yep.
This is all the above.
Correct.
So we can look at it just as personal information.
Sure.
The total value currently after open book is $11,830,100.
Correct.
And the taxpayer still feels that's too high and they want $10,221,000.
Correct.
What was that number again prior to open book? After open book, you're 11,830,100. What were they prior to open book?
Well, does it show
Questions in the same vein as what the chair.
Hang on,
just
I can
So
actually
they're
get you
still
that. Here, I got
pushing
it
us
in the
here.
spreadsheet. Is it the pre-open book value? Where is that? I can get that for you in relative short order. I can tell you that they were initially valued at somewhere in the neighborhood of $120,000 a unit, and they're now at $91,000 a unit,
Okay.
working in round numbers.
Got it.
Okay, that was agenda item 15Z. And I have another packet in front of me.
Yes, so clarification on item number AA, notices of intent to file on the agenda. These were notices that we received with intent to file. I did receive objection forms in a timely manner within the time prior to the meeting for, I believe there's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did receive 8 objection forms, and these are Agent Sean Lovell, if you want to step back up. So these were received by our office yesterday. All right. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the hot seat.
Thank you.
Hopefully it hasn't cooled off too much. Just so I'm clear, Madam Clerk, the objection forms we have in front of us, the notice of objection was filed timely, and now the forms have been submitted in a timely fashion as a follow-up to that.
That is correct.
Okay. And these are not lettered or numbered on our agenda.
They are not. They will be added to the minutes.
Do I need to identify them by some special characteristic so that it's easier for you?
Nope, just reading the owner and the parcel is just fine.
Okay. First one in my packet is FTC Retail West LLC, 2685 Research Park Drive. Assessed value is indicated, $2,445,500. Taxpayer's opinion of value, $1,155,400. Parcel number 06091523092-2. Just looking at the information that's submitted, we do have an agent authorization. And there's an attachment for physical changes to the property that have been made recently. So I will reach out to the assessor and ask, how did you establish your opinion of value on this particular property?
So this is FTC Retail West 0609-1523092-2.
Yep, we use an income approach on this property, and we did receive the necessary information on, find it in here. On June 15th.
Okay. In looking at this, any questions from members of the board? I just have one follow-up question for the assessor. Did these property owners or representatives come to open book?
I don't believe so, but let me double check. I think these are just continuations of stuff already in the legal process. Yeah, they didn't come into open book.
This is a continuation of prior year's appeal?
Yeah.
Is that pretty much going to be the same with all of these?
I believe so. Yes.
Do you have any information in the assessor's office or in your records indicating that there's been any physical changes to this property?
Not within the last year, no.
Okay. Any questions by members of the board?
Sorry, one thing. We have a permit for removing a door and adding a new door, but count it if you will. I don't know.
Any questions by the board? Okay, we'll accept the appeal as filed. And hopefully our attorney, assessor's attorney, will have just as much fun as we are reviewing all these appeals.
Sure.
Next objection form we have Prima Vista LLC, parcel number 0609 1143708-2, indicates that another parcel is included in the assessment, which is 609 1143716-2. Assessed value on the parcel, $20,340,400. Taxpayer's opinion, $15,052,300. We have an authorized agent form. Appears to be accurate, since we have the agent here, and if it's not accurate, he'll tell us, won't you? Okay. Questions for the assessor then? How did you establish your assessed value on the property?
We used an income approach, and we got information from the property owner on June 15th. One side note, I don't know that it's a huge deal, but there's technically 3 parcels associated with Prima Vista here. One, the 2 that are referenced, and then one is just a small driveway parcel. But the parcel referenced, the 0609-114-3708-2, is the parcel that carries all the assessed value.
Okay, so it's a consolidated or combined assessment for the 3 parcels.
Correct.
I do have one question for the taxpayer's representative. It indicates that there was an appraisal done in 2020. Has that appraisal been provided to the assessor?
Possibly. Did you receive an appraisal?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can see if I can find it.
Let me check again here. I've got what we submitted. Yeah, I don't know. It may have been provided last year since this is continued litigation.
Yeah, go take a look.
Pause for the cause here, since it's not clear as to whether or not has been provided to the assessor. I'd recommend we do this on a conditional basis, that we approve this on the condition that that appraisal report, if it has not been provided to the assessor, is provided within the next 2 weeks to give the taxpayer's representative some time to find it and make sure it's the appraisal identified, and that would then give the assessor an opportunity to review their records, and if they do have it, to communicate with you, letting you know that your search doesn't need to continue.
So just so I'm understanding what you're saying is, so you're not going to approve, so the objection form doesn't require you to provide an appraisal, just ask for the dates. So our position would be that the objection form can be approved. Are you saying that you won't then schedule a hearing on it until an appraisal is provided?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I'm putting it out to see if it's an acceptable option, and if it is, giving two, it's a 2020 appraisal, so it shouldn't be difficult. It's not like it was just done last week.
The Chair, was this evaluated, did you say, Chris, did you say it was cost?
No, this is income. Yep.
So that would, all right, so that wouldn't, or that would be a different avenue. So I'm just trying to make sense here.
Yeah, I mean, we got, so as far as I know, and this is kind of more on your guys' plate, but I received the appropriate income information. We may have subpoenaed for any appraisals. We've got quite a large folder on our network drive here, and it could be in a number of locations, but Craig's looking for it in the folder. I don't know if we've received it. It may have been something that was subpoenaed in the past, but that would take me a while to find it currently.
Is this continuing litigation?
Yes.
So, sorry, my understanding is that Gary Kohlberg sent it last year.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
just got that note.
Yeah, I'll continue to look for it as well. I mean, I would assume if it was, yeah, I would guess that it's somewhere out here, but trying to find it is going to be a different task in and of itself.
All right. Well, hearing that it's continuing litigation, and it appears as if former representative did submit it last year, I think it's a reasonable assumption then that we can do this as we would any other objection form and review it with the documentation in front of us. So any other questions from members of the board?
No.
All right, we'll accept this appeal, schedule for hearing as submitted. No additional work needing to be done by the taxpayer's representative. Raven Apartments, parcel number 0609-114-4111-2. Current assessed value, $11,254,400. Taxpayer's opinion of value, $9,090,500. I will then ask of the assessor, how was this value established?
Just want to make sure I'm on the right parcel. Sorry, I was still looking for that. We're talking about 5116 Lacey Road?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, we used an income approach to value this property, and we did get the necessary information on June 15th.
Okay.
And as a side note, we did, just so we're clear, I did find a copy of our appraisal, the appraisal on the last parcel in question, so we're good to go on that end.
Excellent. One question for the property owner's representative. It indicates that there was a purchase of the property for $10,200,000+ back in 2018, yet your current opinion of value is less than that. Do you have any idea why that would be that way?
My assumption is that the purchase price is not representative of the fair market value of the property.
And why would that not be represented? Do you know?
Well, I can't speak offhand, no, but frequently those purchase prices there could be a lease involved. It could be representative of lease fee interest instead of the fee simple interest. It could be a sale leaseback. It could be that there were not comparable sales that sold at that price, so it shouldn't be a usable sale. There's a number of different reasons that could go in. I'm sure that those will all be explored in the litigation.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
The question doesn't ask if it was an arm's length sale, it just asks if there was a sale. So
Yes, sir.
it's hard to distinguish when you look at the form what type of transaction occurred.
Yes, sir.
Any additional questions from members of the board? Appeal will be accepted as complete and added to our docket for hearing. Next one I have in my materials is Riva West LLC, 5148 East Sherrill Parkway, parcel numbers 0609-114-2484-2, which indicates it includes multiple parcels, 3532-2 and 3543-2. Current assessed value is $30,650,800. Opinion of value, $19,486,885. Again, I will reach out to the assessor and ask for opinion, how his opinion of value was created for the $30 million total.
This was done using an income approach. We did receive the necessary information, similar to a couple of the other ones. This one, there's, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. There's 15 total parcels in this geographic area that are contiguous and owned by Riva West LLC. This year we assessed them together, which is different than the last few years. And that's why the value, so the value of $30,650,800 covers all 15 of those parcels. A number of them are, they're kind of individual condo units basically, but when we've been provided income information in the past on these, it's included all Riva West parcels. So those individual condos, the 2 or 3 apartment buildings, whatever it is. So that's why we combined them all.
Okay. Does it include any vacant land parcels?
Yeah, there's a few similar to a couple other ones that are like driveways or whatever else, but yeah, in total, the improved parcels appear to be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 12. So it appears that there's 12 total parcels that have actual improvements on them, and then 3 that are just, vacant, for lack of a better word.
Okay. So is this are these parcels under litigation?
Yes,
So this is a continuation of prior year?
it is.
Is having them consolidated going to cause confusion?
No, I think it is, per our legal counsel, it should kind of remove some confusion.
Okay.
At least according to what she said.
Removing confusion is great. Any other questions, members of the board? Hearing none, we will accept the objection as filed, being complete, and schedule it for the next step in the appeal process. Next objection I have is for Trolley LLC, 5410 Noble Drive, parcel number 0609-152-6830-2. Current assessed value, $4,610,400. opinion of value, $3,839,500. We have the agent authorization form attached. Section 4 looks to be, all the boxes are checked. And I'll ask the assessor, how did you establish your opinion of value on this property?
We used an income approach on this, and we did receive the necessary information from the property owner on June 15th.
Is this property also under current litigation?
It is.
Any additional questions by members of the board? We'll accept the objection as submitted. Schedule it for the next step in the review process. Turnberry Apartments, 2611 Gallagher Drive, parcel number 0609-152-4264-2. Current assessment, $6,807,800. Your opinion of value, $4,976,700. Section 4 appears to be complete, and we have an agent's authorization. I'll ask of the assessor, how did you establish your value?
We use an income approach. We received the required information from the property owner on June 15th, and this one additionally is a continuation, still going through the legal process.
Okay. Seems like a reoccurring theme. Vista Apartments, LLC, 5120 East Sherrill Parkway, parcel number 0609-114-2716-2. Total assessed value, $17,260,600. Opinion of value, $13,451,900. Again, we have authorized agent form attached. I'll ask the assessor, how did you establish your assessed value on this property?
Using an income approach, we received the necessary information on June 15th, and this one continues to work through the legal process as well. This one also has another parcel attached to it. It's just vacant land. And that's 0609-114-2850-2. But all of the value for both of those parcels is carried on the reference parcel, the improved parcel.
Okay. Any question by members of the board?
Chair, just point that out to you.
Can you please provide clarification on the purchase date for Section 4A?
Section 4A.
I'm guessing it was 2021 or 2000. I'm guessing it was 2021, because if it was in the last 10 years, that would be the only one. I'm guessing it's just a typo.
2017?
You have 2017?
That's what.
It could be a 2.
2017, I think that's just fine, so.
Sure.
I would have to believe that the assessor should already have that information on file if there was a real estate transfer return document.
Yeah, I'm not showing one at 13 million. I only have the land sale, but I can look into that further, I suppose.
Again, this is currently under litigation,
Yeah,
so this is basically to continue the litigation and make
Right.
sure their rights are protected.
correct.
Okay. We'll note on the record that there is seems to be a typographical error in Section 4A, that the date of the transaction for $13,600,000 is incomplete, and we anticipate that this information will be completely provided either at hearing or in the review process as it goes to court. And we'll accept it as submitted. Couple more. Osprey Apartments LLC, 5118 Lacey Road, parcel number 0609-114-4282-2. Current assessed value, $12,669,900. Opinion of value, $9,115,249. Again, I'll ask of the assessor, is this parcel under appeal currently? And this is a continuation.
Yes.
And would you indicate how you established your current assessed value?
Yeah, we use an income approach to generate the value on this property, and we received the required information from the property owner on June 15th.
Just a point of curiosity, June 15th was only a few days ago. Did you have time to analyze that information before?
Nope.
And is my assumption then correct that they did not come to the open book?
Correct, yeah.
It would certainly, I guess I understand it, but it would also be nice if they did at least reach out to you and talk to you at open book to try and resolve the issues.
Said-
I
I think-
realize it's in court, but.
Right.
So
Sir.
that's why we have the open book process, to try and eliminate some of these issues so that we don't have to spend lots of people's time and effort and money to.
And I think if there was hope that it was going to change, even though it's in pending litigation, it's very uncommon for an assessor to lower a value based on what we say in open book when that same value is in litigation. So
I'd agree it's
typically we
uncommon,
don't.
but if you provide good information, you might just be surprised.
Yes, sir.
I've seen it happen. I've encouraged it to happen. Doesn't mean it always does.
Well, he has the information now, and if he wants to make an adjustment before
Here we go.
for the hearing, we are
Oh, no,
welcome to
he
it.
can't do it now. He signed the affidavit. Sorry. We're stuck.
Well, I mean, not necessarily true. I mean, once he has the information, he can determine and provide testimony on how it would impact his value and whether or not that would indicate a lower assessed value at a hearing. That I have seen before.
We'll see what happens.
Okay. Again, thank you for all your patience, everyone. This has been a
Just another note on last.
meltdown of, a continuation of the administrative process that sometimes gets boring. I will then reach out to our clerk and ask, as we look at notices of intent to file, is there anything pending that we need to look into?
Yep, so for the record, the next item in your packet were parcels that were submitted for notice of intent to file by Foley and Laudner. There are 6 parcels listed, Artisan Village and Novation Senior Apartments. We did receive an objection form in a timely manner. Pheasant Ridge Apartments, the 3 parcels for Pheasant Ridge Apartments and 2500 Rimrock Road, we did not receive any objection forms, nor did we receive anything within the first 2 hours of today's meeting. So those will not be part of the process.
All of them on this sheet.
No, Artisan Village and Novation Senior Apartments, we did receive objection forms for. and you-
Pheasant,
and you
3
brought-
pheasants and Rimrock will not be part of it.
Correct. We did not receive objection forms from them.
So do we need to have that stated clearly in the record?
Correct. I could read the parcel numbers if you want.
Please do.
0709 354 6254-3, 0709 354 1518-4, 0709 354 6276-7, and 0709 363 2230-0.
Thank you for reading those into the record. And as been briefly discussed, these properties submitted an intent and did not complete the process. So based on the lack of submission, these parcels will not be considered by the board in further hearing or review.
Correct.
Thank you. So that takes care of item 15, 15AA. Consideration of subpoena requests. I don't know, do we need to take a short break before we start something? I'm not sure how much of this we're going to have today. Chris?
Oh, sorry. This is a fairly quick bullet point, I would say, this one. We haven't had a ton of time to review the information that we've been provided, so we may need to request subpoena information on a good chunk of these. So my current status is to work with Amy, our legal counsel, probably next week to determine which ones we need to subpoena, and then at that point, we would bring those to you guys to sign or whatever.
So as of today, you do not have any?
I don't have any at the moment, no.
Okay, but you're asking us to keep a open slot in the next agenda so that if there is a need, we can work and follow up with you on that.
Yes, when I talked to her, she had suggested, so like last year, I believe at whatever meeting it was where we discussed this, that she had not issued any, more or less, if we may need to subpoena all of them is kind of where I'm getting at with this.
Okay.
And then hopefully, I don't know if we need to reconvene for a meeting for that, but I guess that's more your guys' knowledge than mine.
But today, we can say nothing there
Works for me.
for the record, and we can move on to the next agenda
Yep.
item.
Yep.
Excellent. Consider requests for waiver. Seems like we had quite a few of those in our packet.
That's correct. So they are not listed on the agenda in front of you, but I do have them in front of me. And if you go back to the very first objection form for Franklin Square condominiums, and I don't know if you want to step back up, Mr. Level. Franklin Square condominiums, parcel number 0609-031-2273-0 has a request for a waiver. And I don't know if you want to act on these individually or how you would like to do that, Chair.
I would think we could put them in a block, couldn't we?
I guess it depends on how much we want to do and how much we want to pass on to our attorney in the legal process. Is there some simple way that you can look at your record and determine how many of these are currently in litigation?
Yes.
In litigation, I cannot, but I'm sure Chris can speak.
I have that information. Hang on. Let's see here. So, do we have a list of the ones that are requesting waivers? I mean, I have all the legal status of them. I don't know if I have a list of specific ones that are requesting waivers, but I can go down.
Do you have an agenda in front of you?
I do, yes.
Okay, while the clerk and the assessor are looking at that, I'll just ask the board, do we need to take a short recess? Let's recess for 10 minutes to give them an opportunity to look at the appeals where this is a continuation and are already in litigation, so that we can make sure that we don't disrupt that appeal process.
I gotta leave at 1.
Call our group back to order. We are on our agenda. Moving on to item 17, consideration of request for waiver of board of review hearing allowing property owner to appeal directly to circuit court. And after our review of the situation, we have decided the best and most appropriate way to look at these is to do them one at a time. So we're going to go back through our list of objections and note which ones have the waiver request and which ones we're going to approve and which ones we don't feel are appropriate.
I have a request. when we're going through these individually, could we refer back to the agenda for the agenda items, so I can go back and look in my pile for the matching one?
I'll try.
All right.
I can certainly read them in order as I have them, and they should follow suit with what your packet is, if that's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Tracy does that, then we can look at them and use them, do them one at a time to make sure we don't miss anybody's.
Okay.
Madam
First-
Clerk, I'll ask you to start that process.
Certainly. First waiver request, Franklin Square condominiums, parcel 0609-031-2273-0, has a waiver request.
I will ask our assessor, after hearing that there's a waiver request, is this parcel under further litigation and appeal?
So it is, as are a number of these, and it may make sense just to kind of at least start out with a bit of a blanket statement here. I spoke with our attorney in between kind of during the recess there, and she advised that we consider, or that she would ask that the board consider tabling these requests for now. We haven't had a lot of time to look at the income information, look at whatever else we need. We may need to subpoena all the information on these parcels. And so at this point, we would ask the board to table for a good chunk of these, the ones that are currently in litigation at the very least.
Okay? Your microphone?
If our position matters, we'd like to get them either waived or denied so that we know what we need to prepare if we need to come back, just because we do have a lot.
So, question for Chris. Scott, am I on here? Thank you. So, Chris, to parse what the city attorney said, if a current case in front of us is under litigation, that is something that potentially we could do a waiver for.
So I spoke with Amy Seibel, who's our contracted legal, she represents us in all of these cases. Yeah, her recommendation is to, at least presently, to table them for now.
All of them?
All the ones that are, yes, basically, yeah. Because we may want to subpoena information on them, and once they get waived, then we're
gone.
We're kind of, that play is out. So her recommendation was to table them, and once they, in the event that they comply with the subpoenas, then, and we have time to review that information, at that point, entertain the discussion of, okay, well, yeah, it makes sense to waive them, or we would request
Do you need, if I were to introduce a motion to table, do you need a date? Do we need to set a date, or just till the next meeting of this group?
So
I don't want to yank these guys around. I mean,
Sure. So Amy and I, my assumption is our plan would be to figure out which ones we need to subpoena, over the next week or two. And then, if you guys were able to say, yeah, we're okay with subpoenas, go ahead. We wouldn't necessarily need to reconvene. What Amy had told me was that we could, if you guys were okay with subpoenas, then we could have the chair sign them it doesn't have to sign them at a specific meeting. So that would kind of expedite the process, so to speak. So then that way at the next meeting, presumably, we would have the subpoenas sent and complied with or not, and then decide at the next meeting whether or not to hear them.
One more question.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this gentleman as an example. His clients are in litigation on things.
Mm-hmm.
We tabled the whole stuff today, even though some of his are under litigation.
Sure.
You then don't need to subpoena, you and Amy have decided you don't need to subpoena some of his clients for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to his waiver then? Did we have to officially meet again to approve a waiver for him, his client?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying now, yeah. So, yeah.
There is a formal action of this board, so I'm fine, I'm inclined to listen to our attorney that we have.
Sure.
But my last question is, I don't represent the taxpayer, but I'm just thinking out loud, is his folks are kind of at the whim of us
Right.
to be freed up. So, okay.
Well, please remember, this is the assessor's attorney, not our attorney.
That's what I meant, assessor's attorney, for the record, assessor's attorney.
Yeah.
I see us with two options.
Yeah.
One is we can understand and respect the request of the assessor, because it's the assessor's request that we look to consider tabling them, so that they can process them and have a better feel at our next meeting as to what they need to do. That's option one. Option two is we can look at, as we surely could be able to do, current properties that we talked about today, objections that are not currently in litigation, and determine whether or not we're going to approve the waiver on those. The simplest would be to approve them, or just to table it and not do anything, but we certainly are capable of looking at the list and saying, okay, this does not have continuing litigation. We either approve or disapprove the waiver request that they've submitted. So I'll leave it to the board. I'll put it to you for discussion. Which would you prefer to do? Keep it simple and just table it for now. Give everybody a chance to look at what data we need to compile to do a complete and accurate job? Or do we try and go through the list, pick out the ones that we can find that aren't currently in litigation beyond board of review, and look at those waivers and make a determination? I'm opening it for discussion.
Just to ask a clarifying question, because I understood the same thing, but I just want to say it. Is the assessor's attorney saying that she is not worried about losing the power to subpoena for those not in litigation?
Perhaps I misspoke. She recommended not considering any of the waivers until we have time to
So
review.
that to her is actually not the delta. It's all of them.
Yes.
She wants the right to be able to subpoena.
Yes, right. So it may be such that, what she told me was that we're probably going to want to subpoena all of them currently on this list. But we haven't had time to review that to say for certain.
So based on that, I would like to move with a sense of urgency.
Sure.
Based on the taxpayers' right to kind of have a quick process, to table the, any acceptance of objection forms or waivers until the assessor's team has had the chance to decide on subpoenas, and then have I'll end it there.
I'll second for discussion.
We have a motion and a second. Open for discussion.
So the motion on the table is all of the stuff that we just went through. We are tabling any waiver requests due to the assessor's attorney wanting to potential subpoena. Does that include the two that we denied?
No.
Okay, because we denied it, so. Okay.
Correct.
What is the impact on the people who are not currently in litigation and filed all of their appeals and requests in a timely fashion and drove here to appear here? Do they have to reappear then again? Does that create a burden for the people who we could push through today?
That's an excellent question. And that in the review process, beyond the board of review, they would still have to prepare for court the same information that they would be required to submit and present to us. Now, it doesn't mean they have to do it twice. It means they have to do it once. But is it once for us or once for the circuit court? At this point, we're saying to them, you have to wait to know which body you're going to present it to. They still have to present the same information. It's not like we're making them do it twice. Would that burden them in coming back again? Yes. It would be an additional requirement for them to come back to the board, and if we deny it, they'd be coming back anyhow. So we have to make a decision, is that too much of a requirement, or is it a reasonable requirement based on the fact we want to do this correctly, and we don't really have a good, clear list of the people that the assessor needs information from at this point. So again, I prefer to err to the side of safety, to make sure that we don't miss something. And after hearing the motion that was presented, my opinion is it's the best way to not make a mistake and err on the safety side, and I would support it.
Thank you.
Additional discussion? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor of the motion of tabling agenda item 17, consideration for requests of hearing waiver, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Please let the record note, we have tabled item 17 until we can properly review and have a complete record to make an informed decision as to the best approach to allow either waivers or to have people come to the board to present their evidence. Sorry, this isn't what you were hoping for, but I think we have to have clear and accurate information to work on, and right now we don't. And we appreciate your efforts and patience in dealing with us, and certainly as we look at them, we'll try to make a fair and accurate decision to affect your that affects your clients. So, thank you
Tracy,
very
we'll
much.
just look to you for next hearing date. I said we'll just look to you for the next hearing date.
Okay, agenda item 18, proceed to hear, deliberate, and determine residential-only objections, if any, and proper notice waivers given unless scheduled for a future date.
Thank
Madam
you,
Clerk.
Chair. We have no residential objections.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier.
Okay, agenda item 18 is crossed off my list. No residential objections this year. Agenda item 19. Shh.
Sorry. Microphone is on.
19 on our agenda. Consider/act on scheduling additional board review dates to hear, deliberate, or determine any residential or commercial objections. I just want the board to know, since we have some new members, that we can adjourn the board, but additional objection forms can be filed while we're in adjournment, as long as they meet the statutory requirements and as long as we are still an active body. So we hope that doesn't happen, but we certainly could have it happen if the taxpayer or taxpayer's representative knows the law and wants to file an appeal at a later date. So that's one consideration that we always have to live with as we look at our responsibilities as board members. Our clerk, we could make her our treasurer, I guess. We don't have enough money to buy a lunch, so I'm not sure what we'd do. Why are they laughing? I'm just trying to get us out of here. Our next agenda item is to schedule our next date of review. And our clerk put together a calendar, and I see lots of names on the calendar. And I'm not sure what date would work best for the room and for our members of the board. Madam Clerk, do you have a suggestion after looking at your calendar for the first time here?
I do have a couple suggestions, and just for the record, a quorum is needed of 5 members. So that's why we have the 3 alternates to fill in case a regular member cannot attend. So some of the dates that I'm showing in July that may work would be Tuesday, July 18th, Monday, July 24th, Tuesday, July 25th, Friday, July, I don't know why I have that in on there.
What about the 20th of July?
Monday, July 31st. The 20th of July, it looks like our assessor is out. I think we need him
Yeah, we do.
available.
Tracy, is the week of the 10th out simply because you are out? Like looking at the 11th and
Correct.
12th?
That's correct.
Assessor has to be here.
And the clerk, too.
The clerk has to be here.
And
Okay, thank you.
both the assessor and the clerk have to be
Thank
here. We wouldn't want to be taking minutes.
How, just based on, Tracy, maybe hard to determine this now, but based on what we've seen, Mike, your past years of this, how many meetings do you think we got left here?
Well, we have Artisanville, we have Turnberry, or I'm sorry, Tahi, Artisan, Novation, and then we have the 8 from Castile. I don't know if we can hear all those together or not.
Can I jump in on that one, maybe with half of a suggestion? So we dealt with a similar thing when I worked in Janesville, where we had, I think it was 22 different parcels that were separate. So in lieu of hearing the same exact information 22 times, I believe what we did was we read in whatever parcel numbers, in this case, we could do 8 of them, and you could just, what we did was stipulate to the facts of this specific case and then, go that route. So that way we don't have to,
Yeah,
do the same thing 8 times, but.
yeah. And, past meetings, these commercial objections have taken anywhere between half hour to an hour. So right there, you're looking at a minimum of a 4-hour meeting just on the objections that we're going to hear. And then, of course, the subpoena request and then any waiver request. I would say 2 meetings, 3 meetings.
I would certainly throw out the 18th of July, since we're all kind of around.
I agree, especially for expediency for the waivers. That feels like we should
Oh, it's July.
expedite that.
One option, this is what Amy had suggested to me, and kind of what I was trying to get to, was if you were to all approve the idea of subpoenaing, and Tracy or whoever can speak to this, this is me kind of regurgitating what our legal counsel said, but if the board were to decide to approve subpoena requests kind of preemptively on all of them, the only action that would need to be required at that point was, it would be the chair would have to sign off on that, and that, to my knowledge, would not require meeting. So,
Sorry, to correct myself, we all need to meet to approve the waivers.
right,
That's more what I was referring to. That's a good point. We also need to discuss, would we approve subpoenas at that time, or can we prematurely approve them, is what you're saying?
so that's what, yeah, so the kind of timeline or the process that she provided to me, and again, this is my first go at it, we did it a little bit differently in Janesville, but you could kind of preemptively approve those subpoena requests, and then, if we did that now, Amy and I could work over the next week or two to issue the ones that we need to, with the signing by the chair, and then, we could review those over the coming weeks. So in looking at the calendar, if Amy and I had, subpoenas ready and issued by, we'll say the 29th or even, the 6th or 7th of July, we could give them, say 2 weeks to comply with those subpoenas, and to provide us the information we need, at which point the next meeting, say we had the next meeting near the end of July, we could then have some comment on, okay, we can, you can waive these, or we would be fine if they got waived, or whatever it might be. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. So what about like the week of the 24th, 25th?
I'll be here. So that's whatever works for you all is, aside from the 20th and the 21st, those are the only days where I'm largely unavailable.
Tracy, I had taken you literally that these were dates to avoid. I'm on vacation that week, but I will be in town, so I'm available if needed on those dates. I'm just going to be here, so I don't have any work conflicts, is what I'm saying.
So based on the 2 weeks, that would put us no earlier than the week of the 24th. And if Carol is available on the 25th, Tuesday the 25th, it looks like Sharif's the only one that wouldn't be able to have fun. So that's an option as well. And I did check the calendar for the room, and that is available. If we start getting into the following week, this room is unavailable, but we can meet in the meeting room.
Okay.
But that might be a little bit more difficult. And then that pushes us
As I hear
into
the discussion, it sounds as if the expedient way to move through this process is to go back to agenda item 16 and reopen it. And have the board approve subpoena requests, be prepared for all properties, commercial properties under appeal.
Correct.
It can be done then in an expeditious fashion by our assessor working with legal counsel, signed, sent out, and leave a reasonable period of time for the property owners to respond if subpoenas are necessary.
Yeah, that's what my interpretation is from our legal counsel. Like I mentioned on some of those, we got information a week or whatever ago, and we just obviously didn't have time to prepare for it. So with, kind of the schedules in mind, Tracy's going to be out, I'm going to be out with, it would make sense, hopefully, to do some of the work that we can separate from kind of the board process here, and the subpoenas are kind of one of those. So like when I talked to her 20 minutes ago, she said we're probably going to want to subpoena all of them. So
Well, that's good to know, because we'd rather do it in one motion than rather than having to go back and do it time and time again.
sure.
So I'd accept a motion from the board to go back to agenda item 16, I believe it was 16, consideration of subpoena requests.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to revisit subpoena requests. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Please let the record note we're moving backwards. We're going back to item 16 on our agenda. We have a request in front of us verbally from the assessor. Based on their past experience, they feel that we're going to require information, additional information from all income-producing property appeals that we have, and they would like us to offer them, to approve for them subpoenas so that they can reasonably request and find the correct data, if available, to have fair and equitable assessments for the parcels being considered. Parcels being considered are all of those on our agenda list this morning, except the two that the appeals were denied.
Correct.
Okay, everybody clear on that? We have a motion? Or do you want my
So moved.
recommendation to be a motion?
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that we're going to prepare requests of subpoena for all the objectors on our agenda this morning, except the two that were denied.
Okay. Thank you.
That will then give us an opportunity to schedule our next meeting date, which will more than likely take place in the fourth week of July. I guess it's the third week of July. Carries over, strange. Which would be sometime around the 24th or 25th of July.
Did we pass that motion?
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, we have to vote.
You need a vote. Let's do it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
I make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we meet on Tuesday, the 25th, 8:30 a.m.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And
I have a question. How, this is a strange week for me. I've got the entire family coming in. How long do you think we'll be meeting? Like 4 hours?
We start at 8:30, Rich. Tracy will get us out of here by 1.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
1 a.m.
Ew.
We got alternates, Rich. We got
Also, if
alternates.
Rich has to leave, we have enough for quorum still.
Yeah.
The answer to your question is that's undeterminable at this point. But as I look at it, we have basically 5 or 6 that I've identified on here from our objections that are not in litigation, that potentially we would be hearing. So based on past experience, that sounds like more like a full day to me.
So the motion's on the table for 25th.
I'll second that. Oh, no, you already seconded.
What time?
Yeah.
25th at 8:30, Tracy. Is this room open?
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn until the 25th of July of the year 2023, 8:30 in the morning, to continue our review and a potential review of the commercial property appeals that are in front of us today for the City of Fitchburg 2023 Board of Review. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the last item that I have on the board, for the board today is to, I like to say it adjourn, but you know, the attorney doesn't like the word adjourn because sometimes adjourn means you're not coming back. So we're going to suspend the Board of Review until we reconvene again on July 25th of the year 2023. Sean wants me to use the big hammer.
Before adjourning, I'd just like to thank the chairperson, vice chairperson, and the clerk for guiding everyone through this and making sure we were very prepared. So thank you.
So be it.